Antifa is not merely just an idea or purely theoretical. Their ideology and militant tactics have real-life consequences. It's resulted in destroyed livelihoods in terms of businesses that have been continually vandalized and destroyed over and over. It's resulted in maimings, and it's resulted in death. So who are the Antifa? What are they? There's a lot of misinformation out there on both the left and the right. I'll start with misconceptions on the right first. Sometimes you hear them described as if they were a single organization, capital A, Antifa. And that perception, I can understand why it exists because of how organized they are, and many of them travel to different parts of the country to engage in criminal activities. But there is no single Antifa. On the left, you hear them described as noble anti-fascists who are opposing racists and the far right and neo-Nazis. What you need to know about Antifa is that they are a transnational movement that espouses an extremist, communist, anarchist ideology. They merge the worst aspects of both communism and anarchy to form a worldview that criminalizes property ownership, wrongthink, and produces endless disorder and crime. They organize themselves via affinity groups connected through networks. Some of the Antifa groups have Antifa in the name, like Rose City Antifa, which I'm involved in a lawsuit with because that militant group in Portland was the one who organized the violence against me in 2019. But many Antifa groups don't have the word Antifa in the name. There's the Youth Liberation Front, which has cells or chapters across the United States, and they were involved in months of riot organizing on the West Coast throughout 2020. They advocate for and carry out acts of insurgency against the state. They hate America the most in particular because they see this country as, in their words, imperialistic and the head of a serpent that spreads and upholds fascism around the world. They don't just hate symbols of this country like flags and things that represent the rule of law like courthouses or law enforcement. They really despise the American philosophy, i.e. individual rights, the rule of law, and freedom of expression. An event like this could not be held in an area where they have significant control or sway, such as Portland. Antifa seek to make it impossible, literally, for conservative or right-wing people to participate in the public square in urban areas. That's why they beat and rob people for practicing their First Amendment rights. In left-wing urban centers under the control of weak Democrats, they're able to do it with impunity. And you don't have to have a controversial opinion to be in their crosshairs. I've seen them beat people for merely holding the American flag. And just over this past weekend, a church in the Seattle area canceled its event with TPUSA founder Charlie Kirk after Antifa threatened violence. You can think of Antifa as somewhat analogous to worldwide jihadism in that extreme Islamic groups or individuals inspire and incite violence against the infidel. Their followers may be formal members of groups like Islamic State, but more often they're simply followers of the ideology carrying out the call to violence. And like jihadists, Antifa honor and celebrate their so-called martyrs.
Jesus is Lord and he's coming back. I'm back. Who are Antifa? Well, that was Andy No. We all know who Andy No is. If you don't know who Andy No is, you're probably a liberal who supports Antifa. But who are Antifa? Are they just an idea, as the liberals want us to believe? They want us to believe that we come from rocks. They want us to believe fish just got up and just started growing feet and just walked out of the ocean. They want us to believe all of these things with no evidence, but we have evidence now. We have countless. I'm going to be going over some of Antifa's exploits, many exploits. They're a transnational communist anarchist terrorist group. That's what they are. They're not noble warriors fighting against Donald Trump's tweets. Okay, they beat, rob, and steal. They kill and destroy, just like their father Satan. They burn down churches. Let's go over some of their exploits over the years. I'm going to start in 2020. The 2020 left wing insurrection, the New York insurgency, where Obama supporters or um, Antifa were tossing Molotov cocktails at police. The DC riots, the socialists burning churches, defacing our memorials, our statues that remind us of our great heritage. The Lincoln Memorial, the memorial to World War II veterans who died fighting so that these idiots can get on their computer and set up these meetings to harass American citizens and to attack people in the streets. We have countless YouTube videos. Find me any. You probably have one. The Capitol quote unquote riots, and we've later learned who actually was there. Wasn't just Trump supporters, and we also know who was doing most of the violence. Wasn't just Trump supporters. And we definitely know who started, who led the rioting, not Trump supporters. You have Atlanta. This is just within the past few years. Black Lives Matter murders an 8-year-old black girl. You have the Capitol Hill autonomous zones. You have the Portland Antifa riots. You have in Boston the left wing racist radical transnational communist anarchist defacing a black Civil War monument. A black Civil War monument. In Oakland, socialists murder a black police officer. St. Louis, remember Officer Dawn was murdered, a retired police captain, a black police captain, murdered by socialists. And then you have the Party for Socialism, which is the Democratic Party, the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of critical race theory, abortion. That's just a microcosm of the carnage and I'm not even going to even mention because I don't have the figures, but I'm sure millions of dollars in damage that this group has done. Yet they are just an idea. Let's talk about 2020. Let's talk about something more recent. The Black Lives Matter terrorists who beat Christians in St. Louis. You had a mom and her children threatened and attacked by Black Lives Matter and Antifa. The Bay Area Democrats rioting in Oakland, nearly 10,000. 10,000. That's a one followed by four zeros. 10,000 anarchists, terrorists took the streets in California, looting stores like Target, Walgreens, the Rite Aid. You know what's going first. The Percocets are going first. Setting fire to banks like Chase. Chase Bank was set on fire. An officer from the Department of Homeland Security, a black officer, was murdered. Another officer was shot. Let's move to St. Louis. I'm not done. I'll be here all night. Capitol riots, January 6th. Shut up, liberal. 24 in St. Louis, 24-year-old convicted felon Stephen Cannon murdered a 77-year-old retired black police captain by the name of David Dorn. Officer Dorn, rest in peace. He was working as a private security guard. 24-year-old convicted felon. How did he get out of jail? White liberals let him out of jail. That's how he got out of jail. To terrorize more good blacks like me and Veckel. The shooting and the theft was posted on Facebook Live. But Jesus is still Lord and he's coming back. And I'm back with Smokey. And is that you, Peter? What's wrong with your?
Yeah, that's me.
Dating. Just
So
like
I just wanted to be here for 2 minutes.
What do you need?
You know, I always tell you that I'm an honest guy, so I had to come in and I had to say something.
Yeah.
I saw you on Rage's channel against the preacher. Jill, my hat is off to you. You said you were going to demolish him within 5 minutes, and you did. From all the people that went up against the preacher that night, I think you did the best job. This is my honest opinion. I just had to say that to your face. I said it in the side chat, I think a couple of days ago when you had a video. I like to be honest, so I did need to tell you this to your face. And if ever you're going to go up against him in a one-on-one and you need an honest moderator, I'm game.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Thank you for that. Smokey, what's going on?
What's going on?
Is this the real Smokey?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why does it not sound like me?
Thought you might have been a troll.
But
Jill,
it sounds like someone different. It sounds like someone trying to imitate Smokey.
Jill, that's all I wanted to say, so I'll hop off again. Thanks for letting me.
What do you think about Antifa? Is Antifa just an idea?
Antifa?
Yeah. Are they just an idea?
Yeah, it depends. It's like asking. It's like it's a difficult question. It's like
shut up, liberal.
All right. I was gonna ask why Peter was calling you a coward in side chat to not bring you in just so that he could pay you a compliment. It's some weird logic that works in atheist brains. I don't get it.
No, Peter. Go home. Go home, Peter. You said you were leaving anyway. I asked you a question, straightforward question, and you, like most liberals, you play this game. I just went over a laundry list of atrocities, of criminal acts. By the way, most of these anarchists, these communists, you're a communist, man? Peter, you're a communist, man? Peter, you're a communist? Most of them haven't been even charged. They've been released by these left-wing.
Can I answer the question as honestly as I said something about you?
Okay. What are you going to answer? Are you going?
I was answering.
Or you seem to be struggling. Are they an idea? Or are they an actual group that commits violence?
As I was about to say, it's a difficult question, and I'll explain it. I'll explain to you why. It's similar to asking me whether or not feminism is a good thing. When I look at some of the feminists that are around these days, I don't think that they're purporting feminism, even though they pretend to do so. So there are people within Antifa who I think are just trying to destroy the entire idea. The idea is anti-fascist. If they would keep stick to that, then it would be a good ideology. But sadly, it's
then they would have
like
to cancel
everything
themselves.
else. It gets convoluted, and
they would have to protest against themselves if they were really anti-fascist.
Well, that's
who are the
opinion.
fascists that they're attacking, that they're protesting
that's your opinion.
Where are they?
So there's also a difference between Antifa in Europe and Antifa in the US.
Who are the fascists in America that they're fighting against?
Say again?
Who are the fascists in America that they are fighting against? Who are they?
Trump supporters.
Trump supporters are fascists? half the country are fascists?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You're not from America, are you?
I think I just stated that, didn't I?
No, you're not. So I don't even really care what you're saying.
But the fun thing is, I was taught everything about the Second World War when I was in school.
Sure.
So
tell me what a fascist is.
I can see the comparisons between
tell me
Hitler
what a fascist is
and
then.
Trump. I can see the comparisons between
okay
Hitler and Trump.
Sure, Hitler wasn't a fascist. Tell me what a fascist is. What is a fascist?
That's funny.
It's no use talking to you about stuff like that, because you've got a fixed opinion on this. You'd be better off. You'd be better off talking to people like the preacher. That's where you actually can do some good.
By the way, get a copy of you want to learn about Antifa and your fascist group that you support and their radical plan to destroy America.
Why should I want to learn about
why
something
should you want to read
in a completely different country?
Doesn't affect me. Well, I mean, you're commenting on
doesn't affect me
in America, claiming to be Trump supporters, claiming the fascists to be Trump supporters. So you need to be educated.
You asked me a question. I gave you an answer.
You gave me your opinion.
Peter, let's break it down. So what is it about the Trump supporters that makes them fascists? Let's start there.
Keeping to pretty much the same ideology that Hitler had. The only difference with Trump supporters is that they've got a different scapegoat.
I didn't follow that. So, like, we're not, we're not calling for the genocide of anyone, let alone Jews. So I guess I'm not following the connective argument. I'm not seeing any real correlation other than just the claim.
Hitler didn't start out with purporting a genocide.
Well, he did start out with a certain agenda of being anti-church, anti-Christianity.
Yeah, that's not what his priest told me. I spoke to his priest.
Wait, what? You're saying you spoke to Hitler's priest?
In the 70s, yes, I did.
Okay. And he said what? Hitler was a good Catholic boy or something?
Hitler was a good God-fearing man, yeah.
Oh, that's a bunch of horse crap. That would be completely contradictory.
You'd know him better than his priest, right?
Well, I would know him better by his own personal journals and writings, I would think, than some anecdotal story of some guy who claimed to be his priest that you met in the 70s. Yeah, Peter, sorry, that's not standing the test of scrutiny.
What journals have you read?
Well, his personal journals. There's plenty of excerpts, and I mean, I can pull some up if you want, of his personal statements about Christianity and religion, and the fact that he founded his entire socialistic regime on anti-Catholicism. So, that's kind of not even that's not even generally really a contested thing of how the Socialist Party that he headed started, and that it was very much against the religious parties that existed, including pro-Catholic parties, that it was a big push to be anti-religion. Yeah, I mean, it kind of was, dude. Like, this generally isn't even like a disputed part of history. Like, do you really need references for this?
Probably as undereducated as you
want me to
be
pull
as
up
an American.
The founding tenets or something of his socialistic party? I could. I think it would show it to you.
Well, there's nothing you could show that I wouldn't be aware of as probably being misinformation, distorted history, a lot of that going on in the U.S.
Well,
these days.
So who decides if it's distorted? You?
So my grandfather was a camp survivor. So I spent with my grandfather and my parents doing a lot of research as to why all of that happened, what the backgrounds were, and why atheists were persecuted by the Nazis.
Yeah, well, you know what? I pagans, Protestants, Jews, retards, gays, pretty much any special interest group could claim to be victimized by the Nazis. That doesn't really mean anything. I don't. It's weird to hear you like take this position, like, because I've never heard someone talk about World War II and then ignore Hitler's, personal obsession with
Hitler's speeches
anti-Christianity.
that he was doing God's work. Hitler's speeches that he worshipped the God of the Bible. Hitler's writings in Mein Kampf that he was a Christian and that he was doing the work of the Christian God.
Publicly, to the public eye, he would present that idea, but personally,
Hitler then coming up with the, at that time, popular scapegoat amongst all Christian denominations, which was the Jew, based on a book from
that was
Luther.
not what he used to make his point, Peter.
It was what he used. He used Luther's book.
Dude, it was not about
Jews and their lies.
At all.
Have you read the Jews and their lies?
Dude, none of that. It was about religious purity. Hitler's
have you read the Jews and their lies by Martin Luther?
That's yes, many years ago, but that's irrelevant to what we're talking about here. This was not a pitch on his part for religious purity. It was about genetic purity.
This was common part of Christian doctrine in Germany at the time. It's not a secret.
The secret that they didn't like Jews?
That they blamed the Jews for pretty much everything, yeah.
Why
do you think it was that easy for Hitler to convince the German people of that? Because all of the churches that was preached.
The same way that the left is using the propaganda, the same type of propaganda, to turn the country against Trump supporters. It's the same thing. So you're supporting the fascists. Hitler was a socialist. Hitler was a socialist.
Hitler was not a socialist.
Now, you just spoke. Thank you. Hitler was a socialist who turned Germany into a fascist state. There's a difference.
Yeah,
fascism is describing the government of Mussolini in Italy.
Hitler took over the Socialist Party. That doesn't mean that the party after Hitler took it over was still socialist.
Okay,
it wasn't.
So tell me why Trump supporters, you still haven't answered the question. You danced around it. Tell us why Trump supporters are fascist.
I gave an answer to that. I mean, the fact that you don't accept my answer, that's not my.
Just like the Nazis.
Right, but he didn't give us something. Give us something empirical, something we can grasp. Something more than, well, you just like them. Tell us how. How are Trump supporters like fascists, like Mussolini? And fascism has always been on the left, by the way. But tell us how Trump supporters are fascists.
That's why Hitler was.
That's why you're not answering the question.
That's why Hitler was in the far right.
That's why you're not answering the question.
And that's why Nazis all across the world are still.
All right, so we can move on. So you don't know why. You just believe it, just like the German people believe the propaganda that was said about the Jews. You're just like them. You're just as much of a useful idiot as they are, because you can't delineate why
when your entire country fell.
Delineate the who, because that's the propaganda. That's a result of the propaganda. The who, but the why, the what.
The whole Trump thing was a result of propaganda.
Right. So tell us why Tell us the why. Otherwise, you're just as guilty as the Germans who believe the propaganda about the Jews. Tell us why.
Why?
Why are Trump supporters
in Trump's case, it was
fascist?
just money based. He saw something, and he had the whole handbook. Saw that it worked.
Handbook? What are you talking about, dude?
How
Tell
to
us why
how to
Trump
manipulate
supporters
people,
are fascist.
how to set them up, and
Set them up.
pretty much everything. And it had Trump be in power longer.
Tell us
the
how,
whole
sir.
coup,
Don't give us
the
your,
whole coup should give
don't
you
give
an
us your
idea
crystal ball.
that your
Trump
guy Trump wasn't for democracy. He was for a dictatorship.
Tell us how.
Like Hitler. Just like
Tell
Hitler.
us how. You're giving us talking points that I can watch CNN in here. Tell us how.
Mm-hmm.
How did he do these things? What policies did he enact? Show me a policy. Show me something.
There is no use talking to you about stuff
There's
like
no
this.
use talking to me if you're not going to give me evidence. I'm a Christian.
Literally
I need evidence.
Everything that we know already, you will discard
Give me evidence. I am a Christian.
As leftist propaganda.
I am a Christian. I need evidence to believe. Show me evidence.
That's the best joke I've heard today.
Show me anything in what Trump and his policies that are remotely close to Adolf Hitler or Mussolini or any leader of the fascist Italy party or any leader of the Nazi Germany party. Now, I could do that with the left, with the liberals, if you'd like me to. I have a list. Can you do that with Trump? Can you do that with Trump?
It is 4:28 in the morning here.
Yeah. Good night.
I don't.
Bye, liberal.
Time here.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Have a nice one.
I wanted to point out.
Stop supporting fascism,
Peter. He should re-reference. This is the thing. Like I despise this when you bring a historical fact or something that's well referenced and well known, and then you got some idiot retard atheist that's got some anecdote of some priest he met in the 70s that claimed to know Hitler and say that he was a good Christian guy. And the thing that I wanted to draw with Peter is what principle he thinks from scripture Hitler was following exactly. Like especially when he's talking about good Christian guy and he was Christian and doing Christian things. Where do you find what he was doing in the instruction of Christendom? And by the way, and I found this is actually from the Washington Post. So here you go, Peter. This is one of your stupid liberal rags. And they actually have an excerpt here from a certain writer, and I'll read this. It says, a quote, "In Hitler's eyes, Christianity was a religion fit only for slaves," wrote Alan Bullock, Hitler, A Study in Tyranny, a seminal biography. Quote, "Its teaching," he declared, "was a rebellion against the natural law of selection by struggle of the fittest." There you go. Yeah. A full-blown atheistic evolutionist culling Jews out of reality. That's what your disgusting, rancid, half-baked, backwards-brained, idiotic, murderous ideology brings to the world. That's it, Peter. And you can try to lie and revision history all you want. You are the liar. You are the revisionist. You are trying to skip over the flaws and failures in the ideology of atheism and the deluge of blood it has ushered in with any dictator stupid enough to fall into that ideology as some sort of principled virtue. You people are disgusting. You're cancer on society. You ruin everything you touch. And God help us if any of you degenerate God haters ever get in a position of authority, because you're likely to start murdering people, because that's generally what happens.
Oh, well said. He couldn't even define fascism, but yet he's going to label Trump supporters because he's reading the.
Okay, how are we fascists? Well, you're like the Nazis. Okay, how are we like the Nazis? Oh, you want to kill Jews? Well, that's not true, but okay.
Conservatives are opposed to fascism. They favor the individual liberal over the state. Okay, let me give you the definition of fascism according to Gentile, who was um,
Holy
I
crap, you're
guess,
stupid, Peter. And you're going to sit there and tell me you studied this stuff? You're a liar.
yeah.
You're a liar and a
He says he
scumbag, Peter.
studied. What did he study? He studied propaganda. That's what he studied.
Yeah,
Well,
he
let me.
studied some sort of revisionist, crazy
Yeah,
conspiracy theory,
Trump
flat
supporter.
earther nut job take on history or something.
Yeah, the one riot they're going to put in the. They're going to. It's going to be an entire chapter in the history books in 20 years
Look
on
how
that one riot.
dishonest. Look how dishonest these atheists are. They're going to rewrite history. They're going to lie about history to try to skate over, their play atheists play in all of the horrors of history. Now they're going to just start lying about it. Oh,
Right.
Peter, you're a
Yeah.
scumbag, dude.
They all are. Let me read Mussolini. This is how now this is Gentile's thoughts or ideas that Mussolini basically was a student of Giovanni Gentile, who is a fascist. He is the definition of fascist. He is a leftist. Okay, fascism has always been on the left. All right, we don't care what the historical revisionists, like Smokey says, had to say about it. One of them being Peter, an individualistic, okay, anti-individualistic. This is according to Mussolini. It's anti-individualistic. Okay, who does that sound more like? Certainly not conservatives or Trump supporters. All right, just go read the Smithsonian um, exhibit, which says that individualism is racist. So we need to get rid of it. The fascist conception of life stresses the importance of the state and accepts the individual only in a so far as his interests coincide with those of the state. This is according to Mussolini, which stands for the conscious and the universal will of man as a historic entity. Who does that sound more like, Smokey?
Yeah, it sounds like atheists, and it sounds like communism, and it sounds like every bloody regime that's ever existed in the world. It sounds like exactly how you justify starving a bunch of poor farmers to make sure the government can continue to keep on working. That's what it sounds like.
Right.
It sounds like elites eating off of the common people and forcing them all into poverty. That's what it sounds like.
And the state being the expression of the conscious of and will of the people, right? That sounds exactly like the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has come to embody the
I agree.
oppressive
Yeah,
single party aims of fascism.
I
If you're
agree.
looking for fascism, look no further than Capitol Hill.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's opposed to classical liberalism, which is more like conservatism, we would say today. It's where the state is in charge and the state replaces the individual.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It reasserts the rights of the state as expressing the thoughts or conscious of the will of the people. So you're no longer a person, you are a number. That's what Democrats want to propose. That's
Yeah.
the policies that they are enacting. Fascism also includes the state partnering with big business. Who has done that in the past few years? Certainly not Trump supporters. We just had an election a few years ago where big business donated one person in particular who runs a platform called Facebook $500,000 or $500,000,000, 500 million, $500 million he donated to set up illegal drop boxes in the black neighborhoods on the corner of JFK and uh, uh, Martin Luther King Drive. That's what fascism does. That's how fascism stays in power. That's what the Democratic Party is. Welcome, soldier of God. And I'm not going to be before you long, but I want to move on to This I found. I don't know if you guys seen this before, but I found this rather disgusting. And not only from a
Are the gays coming for our children again?
oh no, this is a lesbian coming for your children. Watch this.
So I just came out to my students. I've been wanting to do this for the past 2 years. Sorry, I'm like so emotional. And I just haven't had the courage to do it.
Why?
Out of fear of judgment, mostly from their parents. But I had these kids in 4th grade, and now I have them in 6th, and I'm sending them to middle school, and I love these kids so much, and I trust them, and they make me feel safe, and I know they love me, and it just felt right, and I did it, and it was so beautiful. They had so many questions, which I loved. They wanted to learn, and they wanted to learn about me, and they were so eager, and a few of them clapped, which was so precious.
Well,
It's over. It's over, right? The world's over, right? We're done, right? We're just done.
now I don't understand why this teacher hasn't been fired. Imagine me getting in front of my classroom and saying, you know what, kids.
Yeah, you know what? On the weekend, I like to go to this bar called the Rainbow Room and get down in the bathroom and suck some dick. That's what I like to do with my weekends. What the hell is she talking about?
Well, she's a teacher who came out to her students as a lesbian.
Why?
And
Why does that ever come up ever? Oh my God.
now imagine me saying to my students. Now I do talk about marriage when I was, in the classroom, especially with young black kids, because marriage seems to have been put on the back burner. I had one kid that told me he wasn't getting married until he turned 50. When I said, "How old is she going to be?" He was like, "Oh, you know what? You're right, Mr. D. I'm going to get married early, like you suggest." So I do talk about marriage, but I don't know. Is it the same thing as talking about lesbianism? Is that okay? I don't know. I would say no, but what would their argument be? That if we can talk about marriage between a man and a woman, shouldn't they be able to
Yeah,
talk
love is
about?
love and all that stupid noise. Sure. Yeah, whatever.
Shouldn't they be able to talk about marriage between a woman and a woman? No. Ah, that's horrible. And the kids were clapping. That's what scared me.
Yeah, all clapping about. Yeah, all happy about. Sure.
The kids. Now these are sixth graders, by the way. So sixth grade, you're what? 11, 12. These are pubescent. Did I say that right? I'm black. Uh, these are kids that are not even of age yet. They're not even 12 years old yet. And they're being exposed to alternative lifestyles like lesbianism. So this is part of their movement. It's not just the political um, approach or the political perversion of history, truth, and what we all know and have embraced about this country, which they're trying to destroy. They're also trying to destroy the moral fabric of the country. So it's a two-tiered, I would say a three-tiered attack, three prongs: religion, government, and morality, in which they are trying to become this big government totalitarian regime that Hitler and Mussolini donned in the 20th century. So yeah, the 21st century America, in 21st century America, the Democratic Party is or are the fascists. They've come to embody everything. Although I don't think Hitler accepted homosexuality, so that's a wrinkle that they throw in here. But yeah, these people, I don't understand how this woman still has a job. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't. I don't get it either.
You guys see the new
honestly.
My Pillow commercial?
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of My Pillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make My Pillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America.
All right, My Pillow.
That's pretty funny.
Now I want to show you this. Now this is I'm gonna download this video. Not download it, but I'm gonna share it so we can stop and comment on it. And this is a conversation between, now you guys know about the young lady that was kidnapped. What's her name? Gabby.
Petite or something.
Yeah, she was kidnapped
Petito, something.
Yeah, and her boyfriend now is a suspect. I would say he's a suspect. You were the last one with her.
Oh yeah, he totally killed her. Yeah, fully.
Yeah, you were the last one with her, and she's missing. You're a prime suspect. I mean, I'm not a detective.
They were having domestics before that and all that noise, and yeah, he killed her. Yeah,
Supposedly he smacked her around a few times, and there were witnesses to that. And he's not talking to the police. And now, of course, the minions of the divider in chief, Joe Biden, have to infuse race into even this story. Everything is about race with these people. Everything.
Yeah, we only care about missing white women, right?
Yeah. So this is Joy Reid. You guys know who Joy Reid is, right?
Missing white girl syndrome.
Yeah, missing white person syndrome. Missing white person syndrome. Check this out.
If you've been watching the news for the past few days or on Twitter or TikTok, you're probably familiar with the name Gabby Petito, the 22-year-old aspiring social media influencer who was reported missing after her fiance returned from their van life excursion without her. On Sunday, human remains believed to be Petito's were found in a national park in Wyoming. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow.
Oh, so they did find her.
Yep.
Oh my. Pray for the family. Wow. I didn't know they found her. Well, they still haven't done the autopsy, but it's probably her. It's probably her.
Yeah, no, it's very highly probably her. Yeah.
Have you guys heard about pure blood?
No. What's that about?
It's like a reaction to the left. So if you're unvaccinated, you're considered a pure blood because there's
Dude, I was just joking about that the other day, that we were headed to a civil war between pure bloods and freaking vaccinated people. I was talking about that garbage just the other day.
Your channel strike, didn't you, Smokey?
That's the one where my channel got struck for talking about that. Yep, that was the one. Yep.
Oh yeah. The algorithms are out looking for anyone that even mentions the abomination. We'll call it the abomination.
Yeah, let's call it
that's
that.
what it is.
I like that.
Anyone that mentions it, anyone, if you type it in your comment box or in your description, the algorithm is going to eat you up, and that'll be it for that stream, and that'll be a strike on your channel. But yeah, I agree, Soldier. I still wear my COVID mask and to protect myself from the vaccinated. So that's all I'll say about that. That's all we could say about that. If you want to know why, then see me in a private StreamYard, and I'll be able to expound and show you some clinical studies and show you the receipts for everything that I'm saying. All right, so this young girl, so they found her body, and they're going to do the autopsy. But listen to what this wench has to say about this story.
To confirm the identity. Now, it goes without saying that no family should ever have to endure that kind of pain, and the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice. But the way this story has captivated the nation has many wondering, why not the same media attention when people of color go missing? Well, The
You people just got done with the whole freaking like giant crusade of cities being burned because a black man got choked out during an arrest. Like we had a year of freaking horror and riots and everything. Why isn't there outrage when a black person? Like, are you kidding me?
Aren't these people advocating to defund the police? That's supposed to be trying to, or not supposed to, that were and are doing the best job that they can at stopping the kidnapping and the murder and the drug and crack, cocaine, fentanyl dealing that goes on in these inner cities, these democratic plantations. Aren't you for defunding those men and women who serve
And
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 protect
plus,
us?
it's not like every white girl that goes missing gets this coverage. Like this
No,
just is kind of like strike of the
th-
moment type stuff. Like,
this is a juicy one. I mean, this is like a Lacey Peterson type of thing. It's not every white woman that's kidnapped. No, if it's something like, they can make a story out of it, and and have an ongoing, an on-running story. It's a business ultimately. These news outlets, if they can have an ongoing type of thing, a saga, they'll do it and they'll exploit it, and that's just the reality. But this is a juicy one because the individual involved lawyered up really quickly, and that's what she's going to talk about. I'm going to show you what Don Lemon has to say about this too. And he was the last one with her, and she's missing, and he's not talking. So it's not the typical, the person disappears and no one knows what happened to him. That's a typical type of disappearance, or uh, where no one knows what happened. It's not juicy. It's not a juicy story. This is a juicy story, so it has nothing to do with race, basically, but more to do with the sensation of the story. Um, but of these people, that's all they see. All they see is race. That's their job, is to see race. They're called race hustlers.
I'm on board with you.
actually has a name: missing white woman syndrome, the term coined by the late and great Gwen Ifill
I
to
have no idea
describe
who
the
that is.
media and public fascination with missing white women like Lacey Peterson or Natalie Holloway, while ignoring cases involving missing people of color. Joining me now is Derica Wilson, co-founder and CEO of the Black and Missing Foundation.
Now she's going to bring a black feminazi panel on. Oh wait, that's the one on the right. Looks like she's brown, to talk about all of the missing black people.
And Lynette Gray Bull, founder of Not Our Native Daughters, an organization created for the awareness of the missing,
She might be
exploited,
Filipino.
and
Looks
murdered
like.
Indigenous women and children. Thank you both for being here. I bring up this point because there's a case that's so similar. A journalist friend of
Listen to this. She claims that this case is so similar. Listen to the case that she's going to cite as being so similar to this case that she's crying and whining racism about.
mine,
Gabby.
Derica, sent me this story about a young, about some other people that are missing. There's one guy whose
Other
name
people,
is Daniel
besides white people.
Robinson. Daniel Robinson is a young black man. He's only 24 years old, 5'8", 165, black hair, brown eyes. That's his description. His dad has hired a private investigator to find him. He's missing part of an arm. He was last seen driving away from his job site in the Buckeye, Arizona desert on June 23rd. And his case struck me because it's very similar. He's missing it.
No, it's not. It's not similar. There's no girlfriend that was last seen with him and now she's not talking to police. It's not similar. People drive and go off and off the grid, they would say, especially young 20-year-olds, all the time. It's not the same.
What's scary is you should look up how many murders go unsolved and how many people go missing every year in the United States.
Right. And many, I'm sure, probably not most, but many of those were people who just wanted to disappear.
Yeah.
They wanted to go off the grid. They just didn't return a phone call for 2 or 3 months, and they get reported missing.
Yep.
So that's nowhere comparable to this case. Nowhere comparable to this case. You go out on a date with a young woman and you come back without her. That's not what happened with this black kid. I guess because he only has one arm, so he should be national story too. I guess I don't know.
The
Part
left
of the
keeps
world.
talking like that because they never get held responsible. Like the right doesn't go punch somebody in the face for calling them racist, usually.
Yeah, you need to stand up for yourself. The right needs to stand up for itself. But this is just. But listen to this. I'm gonna let you hear Don Lemon because he says something even more stupid than this.
It's a case that it has all of that same kind of sizzle, this sort of mystery of it. This
No,
young
it
man
doesn't.
who just
No.
goes missing. I never heard of it until this friend of mine sent it to me.
Oh, because it
And I
didn't
guess
have
that's
sizzle.
sort of
That's why
that's the issue, isn't it?
It is definitely the issue, and we have been sounding the alarm for nearly 14 years because of this. When it comes to missing persons of color, men, women, and children, our cases are not taken seriously, and no one is looking for us if we were to go missing.
There's also, Lynette, and thank you for being here as well. This is an FBI poster I'm going to put out. This is Element 1 for my producers. And this is a missing poster of someone named Mary Johnson. Ms. Johnson is a Native American woman who went missing from the...
You ask any person of color, you ask a black man if they have that sort of privilege. Ask a poor
It's
white
not
person.
a privilege.
No,
it's
hold
a
on.
right.
I know
okay?
that. I know, but most people don't know that, and they're not treated that way by law enforcement. Even if you think that, cops are the good guys, yeah, many times they are. But many times they aren't, especially when it comes to people of color and poor people in the society who don't have the means to be able to stand behind a lawyer and not go to speak. Do you think like someone who, a Don Lemon, if I wasn't who I am, they'd be like, hey, get your butt in here. What do you know about the disappearance of such and such? Why won't you talk? Oh, do you need a lawyer because they're guilty? All of that would go down.
Yeah, they do that to black people, white people. They do that to a lot of people.
That's what I said. This is about black people and poor people, meaning because all people are poor. They're all, not all people, but there are people of all different ethnicities who are poor, and they don't have the privilege of being able to afford an attorney who will tell them that they can't go in. What did you say to me today? Usually until you're arrested, that's when you are assigned an attorney for free.
If you will.
Otherwise, before then, you got to shell out some dough.
No, Don. Now he's responding to the same case, and the young man who I believe killed this young lady quickly lawyered up. Don Lemon, he said so many wrong things. That was a dumb comment of the week, by the way. And this is not about black people and poor people. He says, Don Lemon, this is not about black people and poor people. So what is he saying there? Well, this is about, he said, this is about black people and poor people. This is about black people and poor people, right? So because the young man has a lawyer, this is the whole black people can't get lawyers, racist nonsense. So because the white boy has a lawyer, this is racism. This is another example of systemic racism because a black man would not have been able to get a lawyer if it were a black man whose girlfriend went missing after last being seen with him. This is just ridiculous. I can get a lawyer. Smokey, can you get a lawyer? You're black. Can you get a lawyer?
Yes, I can get a lawyer. Yeah.
OJ had a whole legal team. He didn't just have one lawyer. He had a whole legal team. So you're gonna have to shovel out some money if you're black, and I guess Mr. Don Lemon has never heard of the Miranda rights that blacks have in this country as well as whites. So blacks, yes, we can stand behind a lawyer. blacks do not have to talk to police, even though we often do when we shouldn't. And even if you're detained, you have the right to retain an attorney in this country, whether you're black or white. So I think what Don really wants to say, but because he's, a race hustler and that's his job on CNN is to promote race hustling, I think what he wants to say is it's really a matter of rich people, whether you're black or white, do have the means in which to protect themselves in legal cases like this, because they can afford a team of lawyers, not just a appointed lawyer. Um, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in the court of law. This guy watch Law and Order or something like this is the dumbest person on TV, Don Lemon, the dumbest.
Yeah, he
And
is the dumbest.
I don't understand how he is allowed to even have a show. I really don't.
Well, I could tell you, but it would involve knee pads and a certain silent agreement, I'm sure.
Well, he's married already, isn't he? So he's already
To a white man too.
he's married to his oppressor.
Well, remember though, in the gay community, there is no such thing really truly as monogamy. So they're still banging other people. That's the one thing to keep in mind.
Yep.
Gays don't have that type of a sense of appreciation for monogamy. So,
Soldier guy, you're black. Do you have to shovel out all money? Lawyers are really cheap nowadays, right? I mean, you can get a cheap attorney pro bono. You can, or you can get retainers don't really cost that much. And really, all you have to do is tell the officer, talk to my lawyer. You don't even have to have one. You could just say, hey, talk to my lawyer. You have the right to remain silent. I don't understand why these people think that the laws do not apply to blacks. It's like they want Jim Crow to be a reality, especially when a Republican president is in office. Of course, now they wouldn't suggest such, but
Is that guy missing?
What guy?
The guy who the police
No, he's just
weird.
not talking. He's just not talking.
That's weird. They can't arrest him.
No, because he's a person. I'm sure he's a person of interest, and I'm sure they're just not arresting him because they don't want him to think that he is a prime suspect. But I'm sure they're watching him. I'm sure he's not going to be allowed to hop on any flights anytime soon until they get enough evidence on him.
Because I know his parents hadn't seen him in it's been like 3 weeks.
Oh, so he did disappear.
I think he did.
Oh yeah, no, he totally disappeared. Yeah.
Oh wow. I thought he was I think maybe at first he wasn't talking, and then maybe I don't know.
Yeah, no, at first he just wasn't talking, and then he just up and took off. So yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Wow, I didn't know he got away. Man, so I guess when they do the autopsy, that'll be it. And they identified her. He's the last one with her. He's got to be the prime suspect. Man. So this is, but yeah, that's horrible. But for these race hustling liberals to take this story and sensationalize and turn it into a race issue and capitalize on the families' pain, both families, and use this as an opportunity to push this agenda that America is a racist country. Then leave. I'm so sick of these people. Leave.
That's a good point. They're like calling people racist over somebody's death.
It's sickening. I mean, it just turns my stomach. Just leave. Go to China. Go. You and Biden and the rest of you. I really do think we're on the verge of having two Americas, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I think we should I think God is just going to send a huge earthquake and send California all the way to the Pacific, down the Pacific coast, and all the way over there to
Yeah, I'm
Japan.
fine with that.
China.
I live here, and I'm fine with sinking the whole freaking state. I don't care. Place is horrible.
No, just send just the earthquake just to separate you from the United States, and you're just gonna have to leave before this happens. God will send you a vision. And you'll wake up and pack up your family and friends and leave, and then send a wind and just blow after he separates it with a huge fault line earthquake, a 10.0 on the Richter. Just blow it, send a huge wind, just blow it all the way to China or Japan. That I'd love to see that.
I don't think that's how any of that works, but sure, I'm on board with it. Yeah.
Send another flood.
Yeah, sure.
God sent another global flood to California. All right. So I want to show you this too. Now this is, I'm getting ready to shut this down in a minute, but the link is in the chat if anybody wants to come in and talk about whatever. But I'm talking about these dirty, nasty liberals who believe that God's word is not true, and they themselves are the moral beacons that we all should follow. The state, the state is God. When you don't accept Christ, when you're not in Christ, you're not brought to faith by Christ, which is why He made us, then you ultimately will be in something else. You'll attach yourself and worship something else, something that you can boast in. So you were created for good works through faith, but you decided to reject that, what you were made for, and now you are a minion, a useful idiot of the state. Here's a useful idiot. Now, Jesse Lee Peterson is not the one you want to go to for any theological inspiration or exegetical.
Yeah, no, he's a damnable heretic in theology. Yeah.
But I have to come to appreciate over the years the way he deals with liberals. I love this man in that he can turn these. He makes the passage where it says of turning the wise into professing to be wise, they became fools. That's Jesse Lee Peterson, although he's not doing it with the word of God. But
I wish he would get saved. That would be nice.
Oh man, if Jesse were on fire for God and his approach to liberals, they would probably assassinate him. He'd be too powerful.
Yeah, probably.
He'd be too much of an influence for Christ, and they probably would silence him. He probably wouldn't have the platform he would have anymore. They probably would cancel him. Why hasn't he been canceled? All the stuff that he's been saying about homosexuals, you ever wonder, like, why are some of these big platforms and we say something and the algorithm picks us up and chews us up and spits us out? But these guys are national. I guess they're nationally syndicated, so they're protected. But he's on YouTube too saying these things. YouTube doesn't shut him down. You ever wonder that? I always wonder how these people get away. But yeah, if he became a Christian, man, and instead of his silent prayer, Gnostic, New Age metaphysics repackaged,
I hate that nonsense. A silent prayer. Go to the silent prayer. Do the silent prayer with us. Shut the hell up, Jesse.
The silent prayer.
Forgive your mother. Forgive your father.
The silent prayer is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. The silent prayer. So, what is the silent prayer? You just sit silently?
Yeah, you sit and meditate for a few minutes, basically, is what it is. Yeah.
You just sit and just meditate. I guess it's some form of meditation.
Yeah, some sort of weird Gnostic New Age nonsense. Yeah, like everything else, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a video called "The Silent Prayer." You can pull it up. He tells everyone to always go to it or something. I never watched it.
Yeah, maybe I'll tell you. I mean, I've heard him talk about it, but here's a conversation he was having with. Now, I don't know if you guys heard of this show, but it's called The Young Turks. Remember?
Yeah, I know the Young Turks.
The
I'm
Young
better
Turks.
than you.
And who's the host of the Young Turks? I forgot his name.
That would be Chunky Yogurt.
Chunky Yogurt.
Yeah.
Shank, right? That's his name,
Yeah.
right? Is he Russian or something?
No, he's Turkish.
Turkish. Okay. Now since I really haven't heard much of the show anymore. I used to watch it, and now I just unsubscribed, and that's why. Or when I took over this new channel from some guy named Joe, I lost his subscription, so maybe I'll go back and subscribe just to see what they're talking about. But they have put a black face on the Young Turks. The Young Turks now has a black pundit, and his name is Dr. Rashad Richey. Dr. Rashad
Lord help
Richey.
us.
And he decides that he's going to have Jesse Lee Peterson. Do these people do their research when they bring Jesse on? I don't think so, because they get caught off guard every time. I don't. Do these people research who they actually interview? But here is the conversation. This is between Jesse Lee Peterson and this liberal on the Young.
Oh, the
Young
bullpen.
Turks. The bullpen.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, I've ever seen in my life. The bullpen. Why isn't this?
So what he's saying, he's a bull, like he's a big stupid animal that runs after the color red. Like what?
I don't get. I guess the bullpen. I guess it's a play on the.
He's better off being used as like meat products. What's he saying?
I don't know. Major League Baseball, the bullpen is where the relievers come in. I guess the black guy is the relieves the starting pitcher.
Baseball anecdote. Sure. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just but yeah, it's called.
I don't know. I don't really follow sports, so that's kind of. I just pretty much see all that as a waste of time. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what he calls himself. And listen to this.
In the bullpen today, I have a conservative radio talk personality, TV host, extreme conservative, and he's proud of it. Pastor Jesse Lee Peterson, founder and president of Bond, B-O-N-D, and host of JLP Show and The Fallen State. Pastor Peterson, good day. Welcome to Indisputable.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sir, you all have a celebration coming up next month. Are you not the founder of White History Month, I think, which starts in July?
Yeah, we're going to be celebrating our 4th year of White History Month in July. And the reason that we started it in July is because if you notice,
and I guess he didn't like White History Month, so he sort of smirking. And I love White History Month. I love the idea. I think white people should celebrate their heritage instead of letting liberals tear it down right in front of their faces. I don't understand if there were a bunch of whites running around with tiki torches tearing down black statues of Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, just because they, did something in the past. Let's say they raped a girl, or did something wrong in the past, and there would be riots in the street. I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why they haven't. Because if they fight back, then that'll be their excuse to actually come down harder on them. But I would I know where I'm going when the Civil War begins. I'm going up to Oregon and joining one of those militias. I'm just going to be the only black guy there. That's fine. Smokey, you can come with me. You'll be we'll be the only 2 black people there.
Sure.
But I know who's going to win the fight. So I'm no idiot. I see which side is prepared, which side has the rations, which side has the bullets and the guns and the Band-Aids and the stockpile. You liberals don't have that. They're relying on government, many of them. So I know where I'm going when the Civil War begins. I don't know about you guys, but me and Jesse, we're going with the white people. Okay. We're going with the white people. They call themselves patriots, so not just any white person, but the patriots. You guys can stay back and die with the black people.
What's your thoughts on our police?
Oh, I love the police. We need more.
I live in Minnesota, and like 3 days after the big riots in Minnesota, BLM started marching in my city, and I called the cops and I was like, they're blocking traffic and crap. And I was on the phone and I was like, how are you guys allowing this to happen?
Yeah, they were told to stand down. That's why.
And they're like, oh, it's a peaceful protest. And I was like, well, can I go block traffic tomorrow and protest abortion? And the police just laughed at me. And I went to a Liberate Minnesota rally, and BLM showed up in Antifa, and they allowed them on our side, and like this woman was getting spit on, like, and the police didn't do anything. And that made me look into them, but I believe all police enforce unconstitutional laws. And like through this COVID crap, like a lot of them obeyed the orders. That just scares me. And like the Second Amendment, like felons lost their Second Amendment right, like in the 70s, and then it was violent felons, then any felons, and now it's domestic dispute. Like they keep chipping away at our Constitution, and the police obey orders. That's what scares me the most, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they're taking orders from the top, and they're told to stand down and just protect the monument. If anything, they're just told to protect the monument, which means that they have to stand there and get assaulted with bricks and rocks and sticks and bottles and fireworks. But yet Antifa is just an idea, right? So they have no helmets. They're trying to defend a monument. And, talk about Chicago.
Yeah, that was a bad monument.
Man.
That was bad.
Yeah, gangbangers running around with AK-47s. They're looking for rival gang members. Like, hey, this is an opportunity here to settle the score. These people are full of it. Lori Lightfoot, bug-eyed Lightfoot, and her leftist policies. Once they're done looting and rioting, what's going to happen next? They're turning these cities into a third world country. We literally have third world countries, little countries in America. And the gangbangers they're just having a field day. This is like, it's like their birthday every day. I don't understand it, but I think ultimately we're just going to have to separate. And I wouldn't have a problem with, a Trump America and a MAGA America and a liberal America. That's just how it's going to have to be. Since we can't get along. Hey, it's Jefferson. Jefferson's in the chat. What's going on, Jefferson? I'd like to know how you defend your president. You don't. That's how.
I just feels white.
Yeah.
It's summertime, vacation time, relaxing time, reflecting time. and appreciating the greatest country on this side of heaven.
Gotcha.
And so we are recognizing that and showing our appreciation for it.
I think it's important for people to know you're not a comedian. What you're saying, right? What you're saying, this is actually you. You do this. You're the founder of White History Month.
Yes.
You've also been very critical of Juneteenth. You have called it a fake holiday, but you are, you want to make sure that everyone supports White History Month.
Absolutely.
I do want to have a policy discussion with you about the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act. I'm going to attempt to have that policy discussion with you. Do you agree or disagree with the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act?
I totally disagree because, as we all know, George Floyd was a black, unemployed drug addict with a criminal record. And I just think,
let's first of all, let's clear something up, sir.
Triggered. He's triggered.
You really should be ashamed of yourself.
Isn't that true?
Yeah,
Why should he be ashamed?
Why is that? Why would he be ashamed of saying what he was? Why is that a problem? Freaking Black Jesus was a fentanyl addict that got choked out, not for saying he was God, but because he was trying to forge, $20 bills.
Right, trying to scam his own neighborhood, a neighborhood store, his own people. The clerk, who was, I think, African American, later came out and said that he felt sorry and he felt guilty for calling the police. This is madness, ladies and gentlemen. This is demonic. He felt guilty for doing what was right. Doesn't the Bible teach that in the last days people are going to call evil good?
For all we know, George Floyd was going to go hold a handgun to another pregnant woman's stomach and actually pull the trigger this time. You don't know.
And he gets triggered. Look at his face. This man is triggered right now because Jesse told the truth.
Look at him. He's triggered to the nines. Oh, Veckel's live all of a sudden. Oh, that's nice.
No, Veckel was live earlier today.
Oh, is that an old notification?
Yeah, that's an old one. He was live for he went live around 7. He just ended around 10. Then I went live. I was supposed to go live earlier, but Veckel was live, so I didn't want to compete with his stream. But yeah,
no, he's live right now. No, he's live right now. I'm telling you.
Oh well, he must have just decided to go live again. Then I don't know.
Yeah, he's responding to looks like a Revelation News situation.
Oh right. No. Oh, Jesus. I mean, don't even talking about liberal beta males. All right, here's a black one. What do you need to defend your president for? Because you voted for him, Jefferson. Just that simple. You voted for him. That's why you need to defend him. If Donald Trump were doing these things, I wouldn't have a defense. I would just say, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm a useful idiot. But of course, you're not going to admit that.
Yeah, you need
to call yourself a Christian.
Own it. You need to own it, Jefferson, because you voted for it, and it's a complete and utter disaster, and you should have a defense for it. Or you can admit that, yeah, you're a complete and utter cretinous scumbag that voted for a degenerate, a complete and utter brain-dead moron to come into the White House because, I don't like Trump policies for some undiscernible, unvocalized reason. Yeah, exactly.
I don't like his tweets. His tweets are too harsh.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's been.
Do you know what they were mad at him about killing that terrorist Soleimani? Like, it's just because you know what it is deep down. Like the liberals love terrorists.
Yeah, they are terrorists.
They're always trying to protect them. You notice that?
If the terrorists are attacking Trump supporters, they love them. If the Muslims are attacking white straight males, they love the Muslim.
Oh yeah.
But when the Muslim attacks gay males, he's not a Muslim. He's white. That's just that's liberal logic 101.
Yeah, they started in England because they had so many attacks, so they started calling him Asian or something instead of Muslim.
Did we ever get confirmation that that bill was phony? Yeah, you retard. The clerk who took the
Yeah.
$20 bill and called the police on him. They can check. They can find out if it's counterfeit right away. Nowadays, they don't need to hire a private eye. You useful idiot. All right, let me stop entertaining this retard bus.
Jefferson, you're dumb noise is all you are, Jefferson. You and your idiot drunk brother.
Yeah, why don't you click on the link and come in and tell us why we need confirmation that was
Yeah,
$20
give us
bill.
something to go off of there, Jefferson. Give us some big brain thoughts today. We could use it.
They even the the storefront, the little bodegas in Brooklyn, we used to call them bodegas. Even they have a way to determine counterfeit $20 bills. You think these people don't protect their businesses? It's a little pen that they have, and they draw it on a mark on the pen if they think it's counterfeit. But I guess
they should have just let fentanyl Black Jesus rob from them. That would have been the option. Yeah, sure.
But you know what's sad, Smokey, is that's exactly what the man said. I should not have called the police. I should have just taken the $20 bill. I guess he's saying that all because of everything that happened. But what is he really saying? He's really saying, without saying it, that George Floyd brought this upon himself. And that's what happened. That's the truth. So just because Jesse is telling the truth, Black liberals do not like to hear the truth. If you tell them about Michael Brown and the autopsy that even Obama's appointed Attorney General Eric Holder did, which said that the officer involved in the shooting was justified in everything that he did. If you tell them that, they'll get triggered. They'll get triggered because they're not protecting truth. They're protecting dark skin. Now, interestingly enough about this beta male liberal you see here with the glasses and the crooked mustache, 20 years ago, he would have been considered a coon. And blacks would not have accepted him because of his looks, because of his deportment, because of the way he spoke, because
he's a media personality. He's wearing a suit. They'd call him a big old coon and Uncle Tom and all that noise. Sure.
Right. But because now he is a puppet for the left and the Young Turks, it's just a propaganda machine, a part of the propaganda machine on the left. He's now accepted by blacks, and Jesse now is the villain. Jesse now is the coon, right? That's just rather interesting how that word just, the etymology of that word, coon. So only black Trump supporters, only black conservatives are coons now.
Look at Jeff. I might not have known it was a bad 20. Yeah, sure. The guy rolling up to the store high on fentanyl in the car of his drug dealer, I'm sure it's just real legit. That's a real reasonable conclusion there, Jeff. Sure. Yeah, he just happened to be trying to pass off a fake 20. He didn't know was fake, getting out of his drug dealer's car to go while he's loaded and high on fentanyl to try and trade it for stuff. Sure, Jeff.
And he probably bought a 5-cent bubble gum.
Jeff, I hope you're a defense attorney. I hope that secretly somehow that's your job, because I'll tell you what, that is world-class BS, man. That belongs in one of these courtrooms trying to defend these degenerates. What a nonsense.
One of the ways they can tell you're trying to pass off counterfeit, and I wouldn't put this past this idiot, because I had some idiot friends that would try this also, and we get caught, is they'll go in and they're so greedy. They're so motivated by greed, and they're so avoid of any.
He didn't die because of the 20. He died because he was high on fentanyl, being arrested for the 20. That's why he died.
Yeah, that's true. He was high on fentanyl. Yeah, that's true. After all, yeah, he was high on fentanyl. He would have died anyway, even if the officer didn't put his foot on his neck. But do some research on fentanyl and what it can do to a person. just
There's an
inhaling.
officer almost died just by coming into mild contact with. I watched the video. In fact, I showed it on my show of him passing out, needing like emergency medical care because he just touched the stuff. Like, I mean, this stuff is crazy toxic.
Yeah, and but you know, they don't want to hear that. All they want to hear is the knee for 9 minutes and 36 seconds, or they have it down to the millisecond.
Oh, the knee,
the knee on the neck, and I could show you several knees on necks. That's a perfectly acceptable restraint that many police departments
He
use.
shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been high on hard narcotics, and he shouldn't have been giving the cops trouble while he's getting arrested. So that he's got to go hands on, and he did all that crap to himself, put himself in that position. And you know what? There is an idea. In fact, they're trained for it in EMS. The idea of sudden death in custody syndrome, which is where someone who generally happens to be high is put under a stressful situation such as arrest, and they just die. That's something that commonly freaking happens. They just freaking die.
Yeah, he was pretty much dead, a walking dead, and he even asked to be put on the floor. He asked to be put on the ground. He didn't want to get in the back of the car because
they let him out of the back of the car.
Right, because he asked to get out.
Yeah,
he said he couldn't breathe. He was in the back of the car. He said he couldn't breathe, and that he would rather lay on the ground.
He also swallowed drugs on prior arrests too.
Yeah. The guy was just the scum of the earth.
Have you
Good
guys seen
riddance.
Have you guys seen the Trayvon hoax?
The Trayvon hoax? Well, Black Lives, Hands Up, Don't Shoot was Michael Brown. That was a hoax. They're all hoaxed.
God probably, you know what? God probably did a mercy to humanity, wiping that scum off the planet. God knows what he would have done if he would have been left to live longer.
Oh gosh, how many women would he have abused? But they don't care about women and children. They're liberals. What were you saying, Soldier?
The Trayvon Martin hoax. That's where BLM got started. But the Crump, like the attorneys, you should really watch it. It's like an hour and a half long movie. But they put somebody on the stand who claimed to be Trayvon's girlfriend, but it wasn't. And like she even was like, I feel really bad. I'm like lying to you guys, and the prosecutors are like, what do you mean? Like she wasn't. They put somebody on the stand and coached her and told her what to say, and they got away with it.
Yeah. Trayvon Martin was another thug who got what was coming to him. He was robbing cars in the neighborhood, as they found the tools that car thieves would normally use to break into cars in his book bag. So the individual, who was not white, by the way, I can't remember his name, but he was what was his name?
Hernandez.
No, it wasn't Hernandez. Trayvon Martin was the one who was he was just tiptoeing to the store through the tulips.
He got caught in between two houses and it was raining.
No, that's not Trayvon Martin. That's not Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, it is.
No, Trayvon Martin. How you gonna tell me I'm black? Trayvon Martin was the one who was going to the store, and he was followed by.
You got to look it up. You got it wrong.
Yeah, Trayvon Martin was shot and killed. What's the guy that's George Zimmerman?
I can't even keep track of all the blacks we're supposed to have outrage over.
You're right.
None of them. I couldn't find one. I did a video on this guy named Jill's channel a while ago, and I couldn't find one. I went through every single one of them, one by one, and I couldn't find one that I would say, hey, you know what? I would not have shot this person if I were in that situation. If I were in that situation, I would have killed this man I would have killed Michael Brown. I would have killed Trayvon. Trayvon was pounding and grounding the man. Yeah, he shouldn't have been following him, but he would have been killed or severely injured, pounding his head against the cement, pounding and grounding him. Trayvon Martin was on top of him before he was shot and killed. Michael Brown did not have his hands up. He had his hands on the officer's gun, as the autopsy report shows, as his DNA on the officer's gun shows or proves. That's according to Michael Holder, who did in a report.
Yeah, that's Obama's own Justice Department, by the way.
Exactly. None of these cases, and this is what kills me about these liberals, you would have shot Trayvon too. You would have shot Trayvon probably before he got on top of you and started beating the crap out of you. That's how frightened you are of these people. But yet you let them out of jail so they can come back in our neighborhoods and terrorize us because you live in a gated community. You don't have to worry about Trayvon. You see how that works? But you want to pander to the black community to make it seem as though you really care by letting thugs out of prison, which harm the black community, the ones who actually could contribute to this country, like me and Veckel and Smokey. Smokey is black. I've adopted him.
I got my black card recognized.
Yeah, Veckel gave you his black card because he lost his.
I got it, Veckel. I got it.
But who you're thinking of? What's his name? The guy that was breaking into houses or trespassing, and he was
no, that's another one.
Jogging. He was jogging.
Guys. No, Zimmerman. He was that. What's his name? Whoever was in between two, apartments or something.
Oh, no. I know who you're talking about.
And it was raining.
Yeah. You're talking about the guy it was dark. It was really dark at night. I would have shot him too, but it was really dark at night, and I know who you're talking about. And then there's Ahmaud Arbery. We can go through all of them. The man who was charged, he was just jogging, minding his own business, right? Jogging with khaki shorts on, right? And we found video that he was actually trespassing in a home. And he was questioned, and then he started running. That's when he started jogging, and then they went after him because these people protect their neighborhoods, and if there's somebody doing something suspicious, I don't mind neighborhood watch. I don't mind, I don't care what color they are. If they're watching my back and watching my family's back while I'm sleeping, I don't mind that. So most of these cases are not. There's no evidence of police brutality. You can't prove that in any of these high-profile cases. You can't prove that from any study or statistic. It's just all propaganda. It's just all fluff, like Jefferson Spatchcock's brain. Eric Holder didn't write that report. Oh God, these people. Eric Holder didn't write the report. It came out of his administration. When you're up that high, you probably don't do a lot of typing. Just like the apostles had scribes. So do these people. Okay, they're government officials. They dictate what needs to be written policy-wise, and someone does the typing. So who wrote the report? I have the report if you want to read it. If you want to read the report and find out who actually typed it, Jefferson, you want to know who typed it, who the secretary was? Oh my goodness. All right, let's continue.
Jeff, pastor. No, Jeff should come in the room. And
he's not coming in here. He just wants to say dumb things from the side chat. He's not.
I'm old, guys. Good night, man. I gotta get to bed.
All right, see you, soldier.
Later, soldier.
Wait a minute.
George Floyd is dead.
It's his fault.
He's dead.
He's dead because a cop killed him.
No, now, he's dead because he was a drug addict.
My question to you, and that's adverse to the evidence, by the way, what you just said. My question to you was about policy. So let me ask you, what in the policy of the George Floyd Policing Act do you disagree with?
The whole idea. Which
part of the policy? Jesse,
blaming the cops and no responsibility
Jesse,
for the
I'm
blacks.
asking you, what part of the policy is written? You can find it at congress.gov. What part of the policy, sir, do you disagree with? This is a simple question.
I disagree with the whole idea of a policy.
You haven't read the policy. You haven't even read the damn policy. Come on,
I don't
Jesse.
need to read it. I don't need to read
You
it
don't
to know
need
the
to read
truth,
it.
because what I've noticed is that black people today, due to their lack of love, their lack of believing in God, they love evil more than they love good, right?
So that's the reason why you don't read.
And so
that's the reason why you don't read.
Right, because we're written by no good black people. And why should I waste my time knowing what they're about? Black folks today, not all, but most.
If you don't know what HR 7120 says, that's the George Floyd Policing Act, the policy that this guy is raving about. It just establishes a framework to prevent racial profiling, which doesn't exist. There's no evidence of racial profiling. It doesn't exist. So it's another one of these bills that are saying they're going to fix a problem that doesn't exist in order to pander, to get the blacks to suggest that, hey, they were doing something.
If like 50% of blacks are doing violent crimes, it kind of means that if you meet a black person at random on the street, 50-50 that they're okay with murdering you. That's probably maybe something to take into account a little bit,
Yeah, and it's a very small percentage of that 13% of the population which is even scarier. If you think about the women and children, you take them out of the 13%, you're left with about 7% of males. And then when you look at the people who are actually doing the crimes, it's the teenagers, the teens. Every time you see teens on the news, those are blacks. Okay, anytime they just don't want to say that they're black. But if you take the teens, 13 to 35, I guess, of people committing the crimes, it's a very small percentage. The problem is that they keep letting them out of jail, and these are repeat offenders.
Yeah, don't make the black kids angry or they'll kill you.
I love Colin Flattery. I didn't know you know about him.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I followed Colin years ago. Yeah,
they shut him on. They shut him down. They took him off YouTube.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Well, his book sold a bunch of copies through that channel.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got another one. White Girl Bleed a Lot.
Oh, there you go. All right.
And I don't know if you heard the story of how he came up with the title. He was reading a news story, or he was watching the news, and there was a gang of blacks, and this happens often, quite often. If you send your child, if you're a white mom or dad, and you send your child to an all-black school, that's child abuse. And I'm black, and I'm telling you that. But there was a news report he was watching, and there was a gang of blacks that beat up this white kid or white girl. And they were interviewing one of the bystanders or witnesses. She probably wasn't much of a witness as far as prosecuting these criminals. She probably, no snitch rule. But they interviewed her, and she really didn't have, really didn't speak good English. She was sort of like me. She's black. And they said, what happened? What happened here? And she said, I don't know. White girl bleed a lot. So that's where she said, white girl bleed a lot. White girl bleed a lot. And
Mindbreaker's in the chat. Good to see you, man. He says, Smokey,
hey,
if you have a black card, you have to vote for Biden or you will lose it.
You ain't black.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing I got my black card mid-administration, so I don't have to worry about that. And he's not going to rerun. And even if he does rerun, that means I have a black card at least for another 2 years. So I'm going to take advantage.
I got rid of my black card. It has a 30% APR, so I got rid of it a long time ago. All right, because if it's black, then you got to be suspicious of it. And I would say so. I got rid of my black card. Now I have an American card. How about that?
That works. Yeah, that's better. That's better credit.
Yeah.
Have no sense of direction. They're blaming everybody but themselves. And until they take responsibility for their own lives, they're not going to get better. The real truth is,
let me ask
George
you, sir,
Floyd is dead because of George Floyd and no one else.
That's a ridiculous point. But do you blame yourself for not reading the policy, or you blame somebody else?
Why should I read the policy when I already know?
You know what? Why should he read this? Let me pull this up. You know, there's no need to read it. It's more of the same. You know, the liberals, black liberals, complain and cry about reparations, right? And they keep using these obligatory terms in order to punch Uncle Sam in the stomach, and he'll throw up more government funding for programs for midnight basketball. But they keep crying and complaining about reparations, and then when you ask them, well, what do you want? What exactly do you mean by reparations? The reason why they'll never answer you, Smokey, is because they know that it's more of the same that they've been getting for the past 6 decades.
Oh, there you go. That's a good point there, Joe.
It's more of the same. Calling it reparations doesn't mean that you're actually going to get anything different than what you've been getting, which hasn't been working for the past 60 years, ever since the Civil Rights Bill was passed. That's why when I was in a debate with Losar, black liberal, who calls himself Losar, modern day debate, and I asked him, what exactly is reparations? He could not answer me. He would not answer me because it's all talking points. It's all just pandering and
Black people have gotten worse since civil rights. It's one of the things that JLP says that I actually agree with, and it's true.
Yeah.
Is that, blacks, since they started having everything given to them all the time and handouts and all this stuff, it's murdered their soul and their integrity and their character, and it's hollowed them out. And it's gotten worse for them since civil rights. How's that possible? Think about that.
Yeah, because of the civil rights, because the welfare state is the antithesis of how this country is run, or how you can be successful in this country. It's an individualistic capitalism that is the onus is on the individual, not the state. That's why they want to change that. That's why they're Marxists, because they want the onus to be on the state and not the individual. The reason why blacks have suffered since the civil rights movement is because they've lost their sense of entrepreneurship, starting their own. If somebody doesn't want you in their store, here's what blacks used to do: build up their own store. That's what blacks used to do before the civil rights movement.
That's a brilliant point, Jill. Amen to that. Yeah.
But here's the bill. This bill creates a national registry, and I'm reading from Congress.gov. Since he wants Jesse to read this bill, like it's a groundbreaking, it's going to pull black people out of poverty.
I just thought of something. Actually, technically, if you ran like a black store, like back then, like say like Jim Crow era, you could do better than anyone else, because you could decide to just give business to blacks and whites. So if a white came in, a white could still shop there and get things, and you could be open to all the blacks. So if you were a black business owner, it's almost a pretty good environment for you. It's kind of win-win.
Did you know at one point in this country, blacks
all the black business in an area? Can you imagine having the type of setup where you were forced to get all of the black business in an area?
That happened. It was called Reconstruction. There was one point in this country where blacks actually owned more capital than whites.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone talks about how this was all nothing but evil and crippled blacks and hurt blacks. Man, so much privilege been thrown at blacks. It's just crazy. It's insane at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they should be rioting the next time they made a bill like this. Blacks should be rioting because of this bill.
I should be rioting. I should be rioting. I feel like I've been sold out, man.
George Floyd Justice and Police Act.
I'd go
Really?
find a bunch of black businesses in a neighborhood to start rioting and burning down or something. I'd be like, why are you doing this? It's like,
I
because
don't
I'm
know.
white and I need reparations from all or something, you know?
Or just hire Antifa and then they'll do it for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
show up wherever Soros sends money. Sure. Yeah.
So here's what the bill is going to do. It's going to compile data on complaints and records of police misconduct. So anytime somebody says police abused me,
So like
and
every time?
that's
You mean like
right.
every single time? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to create a national registry. So that means if the cop is sent to another state, because for whatever reason, maybe to protect him and his family, maybe he was accused of some sort of abuse, probably false accused, and they send him to another precinct in another state, that's going to follow him. It establishes new reporting requirements, including the use of force. So I guess the knee on the neck is no longer going to be allowed. Um, stop and searches. So you're no longer allowed to stop and search George Floyd, even though he's staggering, high on methamphetamine and about to hop into a vehicle. Oh no, I don't see no evil. I don't see anything. So you're not
Oh,
allowed
this
to
is
stop him.
so dumb. All of this is so dumb.
Yeah. So that's racial profiling, implicit bias. Okay. Uh, I can't remember who it was, but there was a Heather McDonald um, cited a study that, or was part of a study that demonstrated the reason why blacks are arrested at such a higher rate. For one, they're committing more crimes, um, which leads to more police officers having to patrol your area. When I go to certain neighborhoods, I can't find a cop. When I go to the hood, they're on every corner, because there are so many crimes that are being committed in that area. So there's a need for more police officers, which leads to more police encounters, which leads to more police shootings. So it's not that police are going around. The police officers are people. They don't want to get in gunfights. You think police are? Oh, I can't wait to get. Oh, I can't wait. I gotta shoot my AK today. No, they're not gangsters. They're citizens who make $30,000-$40,000 a year in some states, which is peanuts, and risk their lives every day. You think they wanted to get in a confrontation with you because they pulled you over because you got expired license or expired tags? They don't want to get into a fight. I don't understand this. It's like, oh, police are going around hunting black people. I've never had any issues with the police. I got pulled over. I even got pulled over by a racist cop. I don't know if he was racist. He might have just been from Texas. But he said, were you trying to run from me, boy?" That was his accent. "You trying to run from me, boy?" I said, "No, officer. I was just looking for some place to pull over safe so that me and you wouldn't be in any harm with any oncoming traffic." He looked at me and said, "This." He must have said. He must have said to himself, "This." He was. This is one of the good Negroes. I can't touch him. Okay, all right. Here's your ticket. He gave me a ticket and walked away. Um, so I mean, it's now had I been, no, I'd have got like Chris Rock said, I'd have got my what whooped. But that's my
That's
fault.
pretty funny.
And that would have been my fault. So yeah, so no, there's no problem with police officers racially. The reason I blame the blacks, I got pulled over because of black people. That's why I got pulled over, because they're committing so many crimes disproportionately. Therefore, the police officer is doing his job by profiling me. And it's not because I'm black, it's because people like me who look like me are committing crimes. Okay, that's not racism. What's racist is to say that I can't get a lawyer because I'm black, because I'm inherently uh, I'm dumb. I can't do math because I'm black. That's racist. You're saying that there's an inherent problem, not that people that look like me don't want to do math, but there is an inherent problem because of my heritage, my African heritage. I can't be on time. It's not part of my culture. That's racist. When I see a group of black teens, I don't know about you, Smokey. When I see a group of black teens, I cross the street. I'm too old.
Yeah,
I don't want any I don't want any
Yeah, I
problems.
don't want any of that. Yeah.
I'm not. That's not racism. That's just watching. That's just knowing the
Right, that's just
reality.
being wise, I think.
Right.
Sorry, but yeah.
If I'm in Tijuana and I see a group, look. Well, I don't know if I'm ever going to be in Tijuana, but if I see a group of young, you know, Pacos walking down the street with their pants sagging, hanging down, it has nothing to do with their race, but the reputation that you can't ignore of the statistics, the FBI statistics. Now they try to hide it. They try to hide the crime statistics. I think Obama after 2016 said we're just going to stop collecting those statistics. After 2008, we're just going to stop compiling them because they're making the blacks look bad. So, but yeah, if you know what's going on in your neighborhood, and you know now some neighborhoods I've stayed in long enough, I'm able to determine who the bad guys are. So, but when you're in an unfamiliar neighborhood, you don't know who's who. It's not racism. Lowers the criminal intent standard. This is the HR 7120. This is what this guy is raving about. Lowers the criminal intent standard from willful to knowing or reckless to convict a law enforcement officer for misconduct in a federal prosecution. They want to convict they want to convict the men and women who are protecting black people from blacks in a federal prosecution. Wow. This man is raving.
Yeah.
You know why he's raving and happy and joyful? Because he doesn't have to worry about Trayvon Martin. Look at him. He's got his paycheck from the Young Turks. They're paying him, a salary to get on here and promote this race nonsense. He lives in a gated community. He needs a new barber, but other than that, he doesn't care. He's out of the hood. He wants to defund the police because it's just a matter of, with him, it's just a matter of partisan politics, and that's what they pay him to do and say. I don't. I'm glad Jesse took this guy to town. He actually quit. He actually kicked Jesse from the show.
The people,
you don't even know what's in the policy, do you?
I don't need to know, don't want to know. I know the people who are writing it. They're no good.
Okay, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. This is probably going to end up being an utter waste of my time having you on the show. What are your thoughts about
You
Black
don't know
Lives
that.
Matter?
You may learn something.
We'll see, preacher. What is it about Black Lives Matter that you disagree with fundamentally?
Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians.
Okay.
And who
All
hate
right,
God.
get this clown off my show. I appreciate you.
Who hate God, who hate the nuclear family.
Yeah. Listen, for those of you who wanted me to continue to engage that clown on this show, I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it. I'm only a human being. So please forgive me, okay? All right. Here's what we'll do for the rest of the show. I will read some comments. And I know some of you will say,
Beta.
Okay,
Right, so
that was a pretty outstanding way for that to end. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, he kicked him. Eventually, he kicked him from the show. So that's that. What am I looking at here? This is quite interesting. Have you seen this picture yet?
No, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, this was released by German Green Party. This is an advertisement featuring some Antifa propaganda. So the German Green Party is sort of like the Liberal Party in America, and I'm gonna. This is this poster. It's a poster. One woman has a sickle and hammer tattoo on her chest. The one woman's wearing an Antifa flag. Let me just show you this. Let me pull out my board here. Pull out my teacher board and show you this. This is disgusting. But this is coming to America, folks. It's already here. But let me show you the mess that they're promoting to children. And this is a cartoon, so it's targeting children, of course. All right. So, all right, the first thing we see wrong here is this guy here. All right, see this guy here? What's wrong with this picture, Smokey?
Well, that
What's
would
wrong
be I'm trying. It's on my phone, so hold on.
Oh, you can't really see it.
Hold
Well,
on.
this is a man.
Okay, so that's a guy holding a
Yeah.
baby.
He's got an earring in his ear, right? He earring in his
Okay,
ear.
so that would be a homosexual person. Okay. All
So
right.
you got a homo doing the grocery shopping. See, he's got
Right.
the
That's a house daddy or something.
yeah, house dad. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Feminizing the men. That's more part of their agenda. Let's turn all the men into beta male shopping.
Because the women go and work,
Right,
and the men have the gay men have their own housewives type of thing. Yep, sure, okay.
Right. Yeah. So they want to turn the men into grocery shopping, at home baby, taking care of the baby, earring in the right ear, which I think is homosexual type of
I think that is
thing.
the queer. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and he's married to a white woman. It looks like because the baby is white. So he's got his groceries, he's got his baby sack here, and this is where the woman would carry the baby if she were pregnant. Man, these people are wicked. Now, I wish I spoke German because I'd be able to interpret that. Probably some other garbage. Save the planet. Here, you got some save the planet propaganda. You got the LGBTQ flag here. Yep. Got another LGBTQ flag. Oh, this is a kite that the little girl is flying. She's flying the kite here. I feel like John Madden. About BLM, this is coming to your schools. This stuff is in your
These people
schools.
are wicked. These people are wicked straight from the pit of hell. This is evil. This is just evil. All of this is evil. Oh God, it's just unnerving.
Antifa flag?
The Antifa flag. Oh my goodness. Look at them all. As if that's even what that world would even look like. Y'all be murdering each other and no cops anywhere, and probably all the windows would be broken. It's not even a realistic representation. Go to Hillcrest. Go down to San Diego to the queer dominant area of Hillcrest, and you tell me you think that's genuinely a nice place to live with all of its freaking inclusivity. Go ahead, I dare you.
Lesbians. Here's another lesbian group. Do we have a straight couple here at all? Is a straight couple represented
I
in this
don't see
picture at
it.
all?
No, this is where the humankind is going extinct, I think.
420 Antifa is Antifa here, and another Antifa spray painted onto that. 420 means something like marijuana, I guess, right? And here's the word.
Yes, that is correct. It does have a reference point to marijuana. Yes.
I don't know if you can see this, but this word here is clit on this door. And then it's got the female symbol, little female symbol.
Gross.
What else do you see? See anything else? Where's Waldo? Where's the straight couples at? Where are they representing? Well, they're all dead because we're all in the Gestapo. That's where we
The
are.
liberals killed them all.
She's grandma here's got some hammer and sickle tattoos. Wow, this is again. If I could speak,
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like if a straight person showed up, they'd all like turn and like point and scream at them or something.
if I could read this, it probably would be something some other homosexual propaganda, because it's in rainbow. The letters are rainbow. What else do we see here? Oh, there's an old couple up here, but I can't tell if that's a man and a woman. But it looks like a couple there. It's probably two men. We got a dog chasing an armadillo. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that I don't know.
Yeah, what is happening there?
Yeah, I don't know, but so this is what they're promoting, and of course the children are watching, and their children are like sponges. They do what they see adults do and what their parents do first and foremost, which is why 33% of children that are raised by or adopted by gay parents wind up identifying as LGBTQ. 33%, that's a 300% over the national average, 300% over representation. 33%. And Newsweek or MSNBC, one of these articles I was reading, they were proud. Oh, look, this is a breakthrough. We've overcome the stigma of what do they call it? Homophobia. 33%. Wow, this is so great. But they didn't realize that that's an overrepresentation. If what they're saying is true about this condition, or about this behavior, then we should see more of something that is comparable or similar to the national average with adopted children. 1 to 3%, 1 to 5%, I'll grant you. But we see a 33%. So what is that saying? That parents, children do what they see their parents do in most cases, most often. That's most often the case. So yeah, you can turn you may not be able to turn the frogs gay, but you can turn the children gay. What else do we see here? I do not see a heterosexual couple. I think this is the future. They're planning our future. Um, they want to destroy this country and turn it into this. I think it's just going to have to come down to Smokey, two countries.
Something like that. I heard something about like New Hampshire, like filing papers for secession. That's sounding real appealing to me right now. I feel like maybe heading that direction almost, where my brain is going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna have to. That's what it's gonna have to come down to, because certainly where this is not going to fly for half of the country.
My state is a crap hole. I'm not intending and purchasing any real property here. I'm gonna wait. Thank God I didn't own anything here specifically. So, that's actually not entirely true. But as of right now, currently, I don't own anything here. So, and I'm going to keep it that way because you know what? I think this whole freaking state is about to freaking tunnel out. Like, seriously, I don't even know what to expect, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the fact that Gavin Newsom, oh God, I said his name. There goes your channel. Sorry. The fact that he like just took you know what, so scummy, man. Just like 2016, this recall election was screwed to the nines. There was nothing about this that was legitimate. I'm sorry. And it is so shameful to every person that lives here that they're ignoring that they are just kind of think, oh yeah, sure, election, it was legit, no problem. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah, they're not going to. There's no election reform in their agenda at all. California is just a lost cause. It's been that way for decades now. You might as well just write
It's in the
California
toilet.
off.
It's in the
Yeah.
toilet. I'm basically looking for a way out at this point, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, but other states that are not run, that are not ultra liberal, they are doing reforms, election reform. So that's good news.
I just
Georgia.
I just
Uh,
kind of don't want to go anywhere where I have to shovel snow. That's kind of part of my thing. So I
oh
I
yeah,
gotta, yeah, that's an issue for me.
oh yeah. The snow is they're a state. You can move to Texas.
I never get snow here. Well, dude, I don't know, man. Texas is on its way down too. They're having some liberal world problems, if you know what I mean. I mean,
Well,
the
all
only
the
place.
Californians are moving to Texas. That's the problem.
That's true. That is, no, you're right. No, that is part of the problem. You're right about that. And they're going to ruin that state too. The only place that I feel like has any real rationale about it right now is freaking Florida, because that governor is a Chad and he's based and red pilled as hell. And he's just totally like going to make it all better. And I thought about Florida because DeSantis is a freaking alpha, like to the nines.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I love DeSantis. Um, Jefferson says he admitted that he doesn't know what the bill says. Jesse knows what the bill says because he's been reading bills like this for 60 years now. Jesse's in his 70s, probably in his 70s.
We just read the bill, and it's dumb garbage,
It
spatchcock.
says nothing. What is it saying? We're going to stop police profiling. Well, how do you stop police profiling? If I want to pull you over and I'm a police officer and you have taillights
You know
that
what that law says? You're
out,
no longer allowed to pull over black people. That's what that
that's what
means.
they really want to say. Yeah, that's what they really want to say. It doesn't matter when they go to jail. You're gonna let them out anyway. Like the liberal bureaucrats, the social justice warrior lawyers are gonna just get them out of jail anyway. So, these are mostly repeat offenders, and white liberal racists like Jefferson don't really care about black people. They just care about virtual signaling and pandering to the black community to make it seem as though they really care. But they don't.
That is your story, Jefferson. You're good at pretending to care while you offer these people up to horror and near extinction because you don't care about any of their actual problems. You care about just appearing to look virtuous by giving them what they want or what they seem to want, while you're just pushing them forward into near extinction in this nation because you want them to just continue, I don't know, I guess, focus on the few incidents of cops rather than them murdering each other wholesale. Like, I mean, come on.
Is this true, Smokey? In California, it's legal to knowingly give someone what?
Yeah,
The
that might be a thing. Well, there's a thing. Okay, so there's a group of people called spreaders, and their whole thing is like, well, we can liberate the gay community if we just give everyone AIDS.
Wow.
So yeah, so there is, and they have fights on community forums like Craigslist and stuff. It gets pretty dirty.
What is
Because
wrong with
there
these
are,
people?
well, this is the thing, man. This is what the glittery pink curtain is supposed to keep from the eye of the public. The fact that there's even like internal strife in gay community as to whether or not it's virtuous to spread AIDS. Like, this is the type of, like, when you're having those types of arguments, you just kind of want to cover that up and make sure the world doesn't see it and how disgusting you people are and basically what you've devolved into and your way of thinking. Yeah, I mean, it's a gross, disgusting, immoral, hateful, physically fixated, fleshly, uncompassionate, unloving, evil, vile culture. It completely doesn't care about anyone beyond their usefulness for sexual gratification. It's empty. It's loveless. It's feelingless. It's void. It's just a clever mockery of what God created and intended, and it leads to substance abuse, suicide, prolific domestic violence, self-destruction, and then generally people just get used up later on in their lives, and no one ever loves them, and they never find any joy or peace or happiness anyway. So, you know, you support this community and this lifestyle, and you're just supporting it. It's like supporting drug abuse. Like, you just want to support a community of people where they're chasing their feelings while they're destroying each other.
I
That's
want to
what you
make it
want.
safe, right? I want to make
Evil.
it safe.
Evil,
Yeah, yeah.
spatchcock. You are evil, evil, evil.
These I don't know about California, but in my state, these safe drug pushing drug operation liberal safe places for heroin addicts are popping up all over the place. Clean needles, you can go get clean needles and shoot up heroin safely. It's just like the CDC. Well, we know that this behavior, sodomy, is just like the scripture says, it's an abomination because it goes against your nature, your human nature. Well, there's ways you can make it safe. Excuse me? How do I inject heroin into my veins safely? It's just, you know, these people are just
They keep
twisted.
calling me gay, and they do keep calling me gay because I know a lot about the gay community. You know what? I live in a gay area, and I did a lot of
Oh,
business with
California is
people.
gay.
And yeah, it is. It is. And I interacted with people who were inside the culture a lot, like intimately. And like, I knew these people. They were my friends. They were my business partners. They were people that I interacted with on a regular basis. I knew them. I knew their dirty secrets. I knew about the parties and the company they kept. I knew the things that the culture indulged in a regular normative basis, which they would never want the common public to know, because you would realize how sick and disgusting and devoid of morals these people have to be to get to this point. You just don't know. And most people don't know. All of you liberals, all of you stupid, disgusting white liberals got some anecdote about some kind gay couple that you knew down the street. And you know what? You didn't know their dirty secrets or their lifestyles or what they did. And I didn't know. And many people didn't know for many years that knew these people. They led disgusting, foul, horrible, immoral, just disgusting private lives. And you know what? This is normative to them, because when you live in that type of lifestyle, you can license just about anything. Really, really, truly. I mean, once you're bending the lines into subjective moral relativism and making your own rules about sexuality and morality, you'd be amazed the things that people are willing to come up with. And you just think that everyone out there is just as normal and moral and functioning and balanced as you, not wanting to hurt anyone. I'm telling you, when you abandon objective reference point to morality, you abandon any justification for morals at all. And you can invent some of the most atrocious horrors that you can imagine out of the satiation of flesh. And amazingly, you can find lots of people that go along with it too. It doesn't make it right. Just because you have two consenting adults willing to, you know what? I'm not even going to repeat some of the crap. It's not the type of thing that you would associate with a normal functional relationship. But you found two people willing to do it to each other. And because of that, it was found to be moral, even though it was self-destructive and dangerous and vile and disgusting. Well, you had two consenting adults. So that's the culture, and that's the morality, and that's the disgusting trash that these liberals like Spatchcock and the Rage, that's what they really stand for. It's not the PR campaign that community puts out there to try to make us think that we should be okay with them. It's the real truth behind what their culture stands for and the disgusting, foul, rancid things that they do to each other.
Well said. We shall overcome. Go watch that. I just made that video today, actually.
I say some vile stuff on my show, and just even out of respect of Jill's show, I wouldn't even say this on my show. I'm not even comfortable repeating things that go on there at some, like, I'm uncomfortable talking.
I can show you what a rectal specialist has to say about it. I've read that on my channel. I've read his book, citations from the study that he did. He's of course, most of his patients were, of course, male homosexuals, and he talked about the lifestyle, the practices, the behaviors, and it violates the human anatomy. Okay, you guys claim to be science guys or privy to the scientific biology and the scientific disciplines, but you ignore the biology, you ignore the anatomy, you ignore the physiology when it comes to our human nature. What we've learned over the past, I don't know, when we started poking each other, or cutting open our insides and learning about the digestive system, that it's different from the reproductive system. And we know that these behaviors violate our nature. So it is not natural in the sense that it goes against the nature or the makeup of a human being. So you can argue that it's natural because it occurs in nature. Well, lots of things occur in nature, including humans trying to fly. Okay, jumping off of, because they're high like George Floyd on methamphetamine and fentanyl, and they try to jump off of a bridge and they try to fly. Well, it happens in nature, right? Does that mean that human beings naturally are made to fly? No. Or you would say evolved? No. So it goes against human nature, human physiology. So stop denying the science and just admit that this is not a behavior we should be at least promoting to children, which is what you're doing. And that's why Jesus says it's better that a millstone be tied around your neck, you be thrown into the midst of the sea, than you harm one of these little ones. And be a man, Jefferson. If you want to say something to me or Smokey, come into the room and stop hiding in the chat and complaining and crying about your fallen president, Messiah, Joe Biden. You thought he was going to save you from Trump, huh? He saved you from Trump, all right, and brought in the Taliban. The Taliban right now is an army worthy of respect with the weaponry they have. I mean, you got to feel, if you're in the Middle East right now, you're shaking in your boots. You got jihadis with American weapons, with night vision goggles. Are you serious? You meaning I can attack at night now?
Trump kept the terrorists under pressure persistently, right. And this guy has now empowered him, gave him a country and an army. This is indefensible, Jefferson.
And night vision goggles.
This is all completely indefensible. Completely, Muslim. You do realize Muslims don't build anything of their own, like, ever. You do realize that, right? Like, they just, like, ever since that foul, disgusting, pagan, rat cult religion was dreamt up by that horrendous pedophile, you do realize that these people never work or create freaking anything. They just steal conquer, conquest, take over, tax, whatever it is. They're always about taking things, just taking things that belong to others. And I mean, and now they've taken, look at how, you stupid atheists, look at this. Look at what you've done. You got a whole country of freaking Muslims praising Allah, that our dumb, idiotic, comically incompetent president has handed them an entire country, an arsenal, and a means of which to invoke terror on the entire European Union. Think about this. I mean, look at what you've done. But out of your sheer Trump hatred and your ignorance, and you've put this raving incompetent, this disgusting, foul moron into the White House. And look at all these crises just left and right, and no solutions, no action. Just you got the sheriffs in Texas begging the administration for help at this point. Nothing. Crickets.
Yeah, Kamala's cackling.
The cackling.
That's all you have is Kamala.
This is the type of leadership that you horrible people bring in. This is what you bring in, and this is what you represent. What a
I thought
shame.
Obama was the worst president. I think Biden has surpassed him.
This is the worst ever.
I think Biden has surpassed him already. This is horrible.
All of them. Worst president ever.
I mean, you can't. There's no way. This is Trump. Skylar Fiction gets on his channel running his mouth. Oh, this was Trump's plan. I showed you guys the actual. Let me show this again. Because we have the actual memo, the email from the State Department, Biden's State Department, saying we are going to cancel Trump's plan and we're going to do our own thing, because that was what he ran on. He ran on, we're going to reverse everything Trump did. That's what he ran on. These idiots voted for him.
So Mindbreaker says, so when is Biden going to cure cancer?
He's gonna cure cancer, all right.
You remember that was one of his campaign promises. That if he got elected president,
didn't he also say he was going to cure poverty with these
stupid like that?
He's going to cure poverty, black poverty, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's all about the black people. Now it's all about the blacks, and if we can fix the blacks, we can fix them. They're not going to fix anything.
Oh, he's so stupid.
Well, let me show you this. Now, I showed this on my channel. I guess they weren't paying attention, but we have receipts that this is in fact 100% Biden's fault. Biden is 100% responsible for what's going on in Afghanistan. There is no doubt about it. Here are the receipts, liberal. Read it for yourself. Pause this on your day off, which is every day because you don't work, and read it. This is the memo that was sent from Biden's State Department, the Deputy Secretary, Brian McKee, which states that they discontinue the establishment of Trump's plan, the contingency and crisis response plan that he had laid out, him and his generals, which Biden was supposed to follow, being the incoming administration. You're supposed to follow what the prior administration laid out as far as the logistics, as far as foreign affairs are concerned, especially when you have citizens and troops in foreign countries. Biden decided that he was going to discontinue the plan. We have the receipts. You cannot cry anymore about Biden or this is Trump's plan that Biden was just following. That is a lie. You can't argue that anymore. CNN still may argue because they don't think you're actually going to do any research.
A freaking raging atheist is on this. He believes that's the case.
Or have him read this and then tell me what he says. Have him read this. Joe Biden's State Department moved to cancel a critical State Department program. That was the program that Trump had in place, which he was supposed to follow. But what did he run on? He ran on, I'm just going to reverse everything Trump did. And that's going to make me popular. People are going to vote for me because I'm just going to reverse everything Trump did. So Trump's program aimed at providing swift and safe evacuations of America out of the crisis zone. This is directly from this Deputy State Brian McKee. The discontinuation and termination of the Contingency and Crisis Response Bureau. There it is. And it was approved. It's an action memo for the secretary from Deputy Secretary Brian McKee. There are the receipts. What more do you need to see? This disaster is 100% Biden's fault. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I never did, but yeah, there you go, liberals.
No doubt about it. Shut up, liberal. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just repeating talking points you heard on CNN because it makes Trump look bad, and you think it makes Biden look. This is what your president does to children. Let me show you what your president does to children. Watch
This
this.
3-year-old boy was born near Sacramento. His passport shows he is a U.S. citizen, and he's going through a harrowing ordeal.
Not only does he
right now,
molest
unable to
children, but he
escape
also leaves them
Afghanistan,
behind.
where hiding his identity and that of his father, a social worker, and other family members for fear of them being captured by the Taliban.
I received a call Sunday morning at about 6 a.m. from a friend of mine who is a active duty Marine Corps officer stationed overseas. And he basically felt like his hands were tied and he needed some help.
Your president leaves 3-year-olds behind enemy lines. Your president leaves American citizens behind enemy lines with no soldiers to protect them. That's what your president does. You can't defend that. You're going to blame that on Trump too? Your president puts $80 billion worth of weaponry, which, you know, when I'm playing, I don't know about you, Smokey, I don't know if you're into video games, but I used to play video games. And when I'm playing Modern Warfare, one of them games I used to play, I always had the advantage because I had the night vision.
Sure.
I had the,
yeah.
I had the, you know, I had all the weaponry, and you know, I can call an airstrike. That's what these guys have now. These guys have the same weapons that our guys have. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, thanks, liberals. Appreciate it.
I actually on my first stream. This is Liberals Rebuked and Reproved part or episode 3. Episode 1, I go over all of the weapons that they have, that they left behind for the Taliban. You will be shocked. Go watch that video. You'll be shocked to learn what. Now, once these idiots learn how to operate these, it's going to take them a while. It's a learning curve here. once these illiterate goat sheep herding, goat eating, goat you know whating retards, once they learn how to operate this machinery, it's over for everyone in that region. They, except for Israel, of course. Israel's probably the only one that can protect itself. Thank God. But I mean,
oh wait, did you hear the squad? Yeah. That group of 5 horrible rancid cows. You know that they just recently cut. They put out a bill or something to cut $1 billion of funding to Israel's Iron Dome.
Wow. These people are pure evil. Pure evil. Wow. Well, let me show you what happens to evil, because God is not mocked. Okay. This is Jacob Blake. Remember Jacob Blake? Jacob Blake was the man. I'm going to read like I'm reading the Quran. I'm going to start from the right, read to the left. We'll start at the right and then read going to the left. Jacob Blake was the man who beat up his mother. Mom called 911. And then the police arrive on the scene. He pulls out a knife and they shoot him. Right. What was disturbing was not the fact that he is recovered now. Thank God he recovered. That's good. But the comments that I was reading in the comment section, praise God, and this he shouldn't, this police brutality, and man, this is luckily one of us made it. You know, this guy is a hero because he beats his mom up and then gets shot by the police for pulling out a knife and going after. I think he was going in the car and they didn't know if he was reaching for a knife or a gun.
Wow.
And they shot him 7 times because he was disobeying the officers' commands over and over again. I think 14 times they told him, do not go in the car, stop. And he wouldn't listen to police. And so Jacob was able to take his first step since then. So he's able to walk now, and he's got his kid here, I guess. I feel sorry for this boy, but that's his son, and he's in a wheelchair still. And but on the left, I say good. God is laughing at this man right now. Yeah, I said it. He's laughing at his calamity. This is Chris. Chris here was one of these idiots, these Black Lives Matter Antifa trying to protest and tear down statues. So they tore down the statue and it fell on him. And Chris Green from Portsmouth is fighting his way back from a traumatic brain injury. So God is not mocked, and we see that God is just, and that these people that are doing evil, they're reaping what they're sowing. So that's good news. But Joe, you can't say shut up, liberal. Come in here and challenge me on that. You're not a man. That's why
Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Come after me. I'm a conservative. I'm over 40. I thought I was going to tell you my name. Not my name. I think I may have told you that earlier. I'm doxing myself. I'm going to have to edit that part out, or at least the first letter of my name. Don't tell anybody. I don't know if you noticed. Now they're gonna go back and look at the stream. I'm probably gonna get 1,000 views now. Oh, we gotta find out Joe Docs himself. We gotta go search for it. I'm gonna edit it out, so you're not gonna be able to. But I was talking about when I was in school. One of my students. Not a single person anywhere. What's the takeaway? Says ever accused Biden of being smart. Yeah, he's just I don't know what the man just he can't even put a pen in his pocket. I don't know how you and liberals knew this. They knew this about Biden. This isn't some big grand surprise or shock. They knew that he was incompetent. But what did he run on? I'm going to do the opposite of what Trump did, and look what it's got us. We've got the border is in disarray. We got all types of people coming over here, all middle-aged men, war fighting or war-aged, 20-year-old single men, most of them, and they don't need to be vetted, Smokey, do they? They don't even need a COVID test.
No,
They can
nothing.
just
We all have to have everything and boosters and all this garbage.
booster.
Yeah, no, but they just come on over and no tests and tuberculosis and God knows whatever else. Sure, yeah.
Booster. Yeah, so Biden's leaving behind men and women, children as young as 3 years old, leaving them behind to be destroyed with our weapons, with the Navy SEALs and SEAL Team 3 or whatever the 3 or 4. Which one is the one? I think 3 is the one those are the badasses. Did all of those weapons that they would use to hunt the enemy are now going to be used to hunt Americans, and you better not come in here, because you're gonna get a tongue lashing from myself. You should be ashamed of yourself, liberal. And you're still blaming Trump. I could see, Smokey, if they would just say, you know what, yeah, this we blew this one, But no, they're still blaming Trump. It's Trump's fault. Biden is Trump's fault.
Evil, evil, and wicked. Just terrible.
It's Trump's fault. Trump did it. Yeah, and that's just sad. But yeah, what I meant to ask you about the strike you got. Was it something you said or you wrote in the description?
It's something I said, because
How did they?
there was nothing in the description to go off of, and we were
You
talking
think
about the abomination.
you think
And
somebody flagged you or something?
no,
Just an
no,
algorithm picked it up.
here's the thing. I think the algorithm's gone crazy on this particular topic, because there's a real
Yeah,
agenda here, you know.
right.
So yeah, kind of have to just talk about it like hushed tones and like code language or something, man. I don't know.
Wow. Talk about fascism. If Peter wants an example of fascism, why doesn't he look at where fascism
Yeah,
actually lies?
why isn't he looking at that? I'd wonder. Yeah.
You got government partnering with big business, big tech in this case, to silence dissenters. That's exactly what Mussolini did. That's exactly what Hitler did. He was a socialist. That's exactly what he did. I don't get. Oh, Trump supporters or the fascists. Why? Because CNN said it. So I'm giving you something that you can actually grasp, some empirical support for my argument. Fascism has always been on the left. Antifa is a transnational communist, anarchist, terrorist, domestic terrorist group who is the military arm
Yeah.
of the Democratic Party. No
And you
different
know
from the
what,
brown
Peter?
shirts, no different from the black shirts.
I know another thing to Peter. Either A, you're full of crap that you talked to a guy who was Hitler's priest in the 70s, or that guy you talked to who was full of crap that he was Hitler's priest. It is one or the other. Okay, I'm sorry. You're either naive or evil and lying. I'm not sure which. I don't know.
Yeah, Peter's met more people and talked to more people that he can't verify he's talked to than anyone I've ever met. He reminds me of the kid in high school who always has a story about meeting someone that no one can verify except for him. Right? That's Peter.
Yeah, he talked to Paul the Apostle, and he gave him the real story about how Damascus didn't actually happen. He just wanted to hijack Christianity or something. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he met Jesus too, except he wasn't the Messiah. He was homosexual.
There you go. Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He talked to his brother. He knew he was gay. Sure, something like that. Yeah.
So you fought against Trump's tweets, and you got Joe Biden handing the Taliban a country. Did you see those guys invade the presidential suite and the exercise room?
Yeah.
They were like kids in a candy store.
The hell out of that place.
Yeah, how did you not bomb the palace where they are and wind up bombing and killing 12 kids or 12 civilians? How'd that happen?
Yeah, they had a tactical strike against a service worker who wasn't even doing anything wrong other than providing food and water, and yet they couldn't strike the freaking presidential palace where they're all gathered around taking photos.
It's almost as though they planned this. They wanted this to happen. I mean, sometimes when I'm playing chess with, the little ones, and sometimes I'll make a bad move just to give them some confidence, and so they, don't give up. Maybe they planned this to help the Taliban for some, I don't know, reason. They want the Taliban to be successful. I can't think of I can't think of any other reason why you would allow this to happen. Why you would allow a group like the Taliban to even have access. Those weapons you should have been blown up. If anything, if they couldn't get the weapons or retrieve them, they should have been destroyed. Why weren't the
Let me tell
weapons
you, Joe.
destroyed?
Let me tell you. It's the same reason I go after the heretics with the same fervor I do as the atheists, is because they both serve the same master. And you know what? It's the same thing here. The Democrats and the Taliban serve the same Satan as their father and their master. That's why they align. That's why they're trying to crush good and destroy Christianity and all that stuff. They serve the same Satan.
Is it just a matter of Christianity is the enemy and Christ is their enemy? So we're going to
Yeah.
side with people who hate us just as much as they do.
I think that is what it is.
Wow, that's evil.
Former state Senator Scott Wagner was no stranger to controversy when he was at the state capitol, and that's not changing now that he's back in the private sector. The Republican from York County told ABC 27 he's putting up 15 more billboards across the state showing Joe Biden and the caption, "Making the Taliban Great Again." Wagner is a vocal Trump supporter.
Listen, this is a real big deal that's going down in Afghanistan. I think I've made my point. And I'm you know me. I'm gonna say what's on my mind, and this is what's on my mind, and now it's on a billboard.
Wagner says there are 15 billboards up now, and with those others on the way, he spent about $15,000.
Good for him. I like that guy. We need more of those posters, more of those billboards.
Yeah, that guy's a Chad. That's incredible.
Yeah, making the Taliban great again. Man, they just went from what do they call them? The AK-47s, the oldest version. They just went from that.
Yeah, they all got an upgrade, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer. Good job.
Oh my goodness. Go watch the video, season or episode 1, Liberals Rebuked. And Roman, can't remember his last name, but he's from the Epoch Times. He went over all of the weaponry that was left behind, including Humvees, our best stuff, that our soldiers would use. The night vision goggles got me because they could never fight at night. That was one of their weaknesses. That's the advantage that we had in Afghanistan, in Iraq, was that they would have to hide at night, basically, and they would, they would be shooting blindly, if anything. But now that they have, as far as their soldiers are concerned, the night vision goggles, they're able to now mount up and attack our outposts, where there are none left, but with night vision goggles and be able to see in the dark. And that's scary. That's scary to me. I wouldn't stand a chance if the enemy in the video game Modern Warfare had the same equipment I had. I would probably wouldn't want to play the game anymore, because I would always lose. Let's see. Anyone have anything else to say in the chat? The link is in the chat if you're a liberal and you want to come in. And if you haven't seen the new My Pillow commercial, Mike Lind.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of My Pillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make My Pillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America.
You've helped Joe Biden's helped the Taliban become one of the fastest growing military powers in the world. But That was Mike Lindell, my pillow. Mike Lindell says some crazy things, but I like him. I like him more than Biden. I take Mike Lindell right now over Biden.
Yeah,
All right.
actually, me too. I actually think he's more sane and smarter and less dementia ridden.
Yeah, and he doesn't abuse children or
Yeah,
leave
that
them
too.
behind. Yeah, and grope women, married women. I mean, this man. They talked about Trump's moral hang-ups, right? Oh, grab him by the bleep bleep. Uh, you know, his 3 wives, or how many times has he been married? 3 times, 4 times. I think his first wife was Ivanka. Was that his, or is that his daughter? I don't know. I'm getting confused. Um, but they talked about Trump's moral uh, behavior. When he was a liberal. That was my response. But that was when he was a liberal, and that triggered the atheist. But when it comes to Joe Biden, it's like hear no evil, see no evil. Their hatred. This is why the Bible talks about hate and how dangerous it is, that we shouldn't hate, because it stirs up strife. It stirs up envy for your brother, and you do things that you normally wouldn't do. The Proverbs 10 says that hatred stirs up strife. When you hate someone, you do things, and you make decisions that are illogical, that are irrational. That was an irrational decision to vote for Joe Biden because you hated Trump. Okay, it simply was. There's no apologizing. Right. I'll use what the atheists like to say, what we do with the Bible. Oh, that's just your apologetics. There's no apologetics for Biden. None whatsoever. So he that hateth his brother, 1 John chapter 2 says, is in darkness. Okay, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth. Meaning you don't know where you're going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes, John writes. That's what's happening in America today. Darkness is blinding our eyes. We can't even see that this man is destroying this country. I think he's being used by the deep state. I think they want war in Afghanistan, unlike Donald Trump, who was trying to prevent war. There wasn't a single war during his administration. I think they want to empower the Taliban so that eventually the war and industrial complex will profit, and that eventually we'll have to go back to Afghanistan. That's what I predict what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. I think we're going to be back over there. But it won't be under Trump. They're going to try to stop Trump from getting elected. I think Trump set back their plan, their New World Order plan. I think he set them back a decade, perhaps, just the 4 years that he had. They wanted Obama twice and Hillary twice. They needed 16 years to accomplish this New World Order. And Trump put a monkey wrench in their plan, which is why they could not allow him another term. So then you had what Time Magazine calls the fortification of the election. That's what they call it. That's their words, not mine. They fortified the election by way of billionaire Zuckerberg bucks and other big time entrepreneurs, philanthropists, donating, not just donating, which is okay, but donating to the tune of illegal election, I'll say, practices. All right, like drop boxes. Drop boxes are illegal. You cannot have, polls open or drop boxes for ballots that are unmanned. So they were doing things that were illegal. So it wasn't just that they were donating. Okay, that's what liberals were saying. Well, you're in America, you can donate to the Democratic Party, yeah, but you can't donate and do things that are illegal, and fortify the election that way. So Times Magazine admitted it. I stopped talking about it. When you admit that you're a liar and a cheater, there's no need for me to, beat a dead liberal. Smokey, did you have any last words? I'm getting ready to shut the stream down.
No, it was a good time, man. It was a good time. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, God bless you, brother. I hope you have yourself a great night.
Okay. Sunday, if you want to join me, I'm going to be talking about the doctrine of salvation.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, so this has been something that I don't know if it was you or Vecco. It might have been you, but
it's usually me.
Yeah, there's been a trend that I guess you set, dealing with the question of soteriology or the doctrine of salvation. And so I wanted to chime in and give my take on this thing. And my position is of the reformed camp. And so I'm going to be doing that, but it's going to be an open room. I want Christians to come in. Peter, you're not welcome. You can't even tell me what a fascist is. You can't even tell me what your religion is. How are you going to speak on our religion? You can't even tell me what your religion of fascism is. That's why you are a fascist, because, well, I think Peter's more of a useful idiot, because useful idiots, like Marx said, follow something they don't even understand they're following. That's what a useful idiot is. Supporting something like Antifa. Antifa is being used by the deep state to destroy America. And they think this, I think some of them think they're doing good, sadly. But I want to talk, I'm going to be very brief. I have about 3 slides. And then I'm just going to open up for everyone. It's going to be at 12 noon on Sunday. If you want to join me, Smokey, I'd love to have you. Vecco, I'm going to need some help dealing with Smokey, because I have to say, of all of the people that I've had discussions with, you will probably give me more of a challenge than anyone. The rest of the Armenians is just, yeah. The rest of the Armenians is just, well, you make God to be out to be one person even called the Calvinist God a sadistic. I said, oh, Lord have mercy. That's not an argument. Oh, it is, but it's an emotional argument. But they gave reasons why, because God is evil, because the Calvinist God is evil, because he creates man, and knowing that they're going to or making them choose evil, and therefore God is evil, because he creates man and he destines them to hell. He doesn't save everyone. So we're going to be talking about salvation. I want to concentrate more so on how you're saved. We all know who does the saving, right? There's no argument there. Ryan, if you're interested, I'd like to have you on as well. He's pretty knowledgeable on the subject. Who else? Who else is out there? Who's in the non-reformed camp, we'll call it? I don't like to say Arminian. unless it's the Arsenian challenge, and then I'll use that term. But who else is in the reform or non-reform camp? That's pretty good at
Basically,
arguing.
almost everyone in the community, I think.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But that's not doesn't have. I want people with sound doctrine.
I know.
Sound doctrine.
You can invite Nephilim free.
Yeah, I mean Neff is pretty sound. Yeah, I mean, but he doesn't really frequent my channel. So even though I go there and give him, a like or two or a thumbs up, he doesn't come here. But that's okay. I'm not bitter.
He thinks that Soul Sleep and Young Earth are salvific, and he thinks that the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit all died on the cross together. So,
no, he can't fellowship. No, I'm sorry. I want people with sound doctrine that are just wrong about this. Yeah, that's what I want. What about Jamie?
That is a unique beast. That's for sure. No doubt. I haven't come across something quite that way. I think in my entire Christian career, it's a unique one. That one is, sure. Yeah.
What about Jamie? Jamie, he's not reformed.
No, he's not reformed. Yeah, he'd be a good one. Sure. Yeah.
Jamie, I know he watches. Who else? Let me see if anyone's in the chat. Basement Dweller, is Basement Dweller an atheist or a Christian?
No, he's a Christian. Yeah,
okay, according to Rev, Smokey is a I think Smokey's a Calvinist too.
Yeah, actually, even according to Godless Girl, she put up a bio about me and said I was a Calvinist too. And I'm like, I'm not really a Calvinist. Like, whatever. Okay.
That was in Smokey and Salt's part two.
Well, I might kind of be. I may be kind of like I'm probably not a Calvinist. I'm probably more like what Kenny is. I'm probably more like a Thomist.
What is that? What is that?
Well, it would take a long time to go into it, but it's about.
All right, we'll go into it Sunday then.
Yeah, it's just real brief. It's about differentiating between primary agency and secondary agency and authorship and sovereignty. It's a whole thing. So we can go over it on Sunday.
What does he call it? Say that again.
It's a difference between primary agency and
the term. I'm just gonna look it up.
Thomism. So like from Thomas Aquinas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's his doctrine, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least for this perspective philosophically, I think he still claims to be a 4-point Calvinist or something. So I think it's the L. I think the L is where he has an issue with. So yeah.
I don't see why. I like the L.
I think the
L is the easiest to defend.
I have a hard time justifying the L.
No, I think the L is the easiest. I have more of a harder time justifying the T.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of tied into we don't need to get into this, but I almost think it's tied into preservation of the saints. I don't think you can escape it. Because if you have preservation of the saints, then you also have irresistible grace. And if you have irresistible grace, you definitely have total depravity, because you definitely have God himself being the agent of grace that allows you to come to him. So you kind of almost can't separate it. Not that would be your argument for it to use the other points, but I'm just saying,
Right, but total is the part. Yeah, I think we're all depraved, but what does it mean to be totally depraved?
Well, that is the principle that you are completely incapable of coming to God. He has to regenerate you or give you the gift of faith in order to come to him. You, of your own accord, can't choose to come to him.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but I still wouldn't say that's totally depraved, right? Because I guess if you're talking about soteriology, then yeah. If you're talking about salvation, then yeah, you're totally depraved. So I guess that's not a problem for me either. But when most people hear that, they shun the term because they think we're just all knuckle dragging beast that raping women, and without God, without his election, we would all be Jeffrey Dahmer eating black people. Universal says, did you guys hear about China cracking down on simps? They're using, oh yeah, they have a beast system in China. That's what's coming here soon. You keep voting for Biden, keep voting for liberals. That's what they want here. That's exactly what they want here. They want a beast system. That's what China has.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is the beast. That is a beast system. Okay, you are tracked. Everything about you. There was a movie like that. Forgot the name of it, but I think Tom Hanks was in it. It's about it was about a Silicon Valley big tech corporation, like Google, sort of. And they had this thing called an open society. Everyone had to be open. Everybody had to be online 24/7. Because everyone, liberals will say, well, yeah, I'm. What's the word they use? To suggest that they're not hiding anything. They're open and they're accessible. They're online. You had to be online 24/7. And basically the moral of the story, I don't want to spoil it, but the elite were not online 24/7, but everyone else under them had to be, right? So that's basically what fascism and socialism does. That's what it is. Rules apply for you and not for me. Rules apply for you and your grandmother and your family, but not for the elite. And that's what the Democratic Party is. A democratic, socialist, transnational, communist, anarchist Democratic Party. All right. Thanks for having me. Or thanks for coming on, Smokey. And I'll see you on Sunday.
Appreciate you, bro. Have a good night, man. God bless.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Jesus is Lord is coming back. Join me Sunday for a Christian in-house community chat about how we are saved. How are we saved? This is what Peter has to say that about our salvation, that God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. Okay, so the Lord has taken our sins and thrown them in the depths of the sea, as Scripture says, and they are remembered no more. So that's the what. We want to find out what the how is. So I'll see you Sunday. God bless. Repent or die, liberal. Stop watching fake news. Okay, or so you'll wind up like Joe Biden.
If you reject Christ, then the moment you take your first step through the gates of hell, the only thing you will hear is all of creation standing to its feet and applauding and praising God because God has rid the earth of you.
I take full responsibility for my going to hell.